What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon back at you with another one. This is the Usual Suspect podcast, and I'm joined by the usual suspects right off the bat with one, the only Phil the Issues guy. What's going on?
Not too much. Great to be here. Excited to talk about this one. This has a lot of fun potential to talk about this topic.
And Kaiser Sose himself, a.k.a. Bridge 4. What's going on?
What's happening, guys? Yeah, I still haven't watched that movie. The Unusual Suspect? The Usual Suspect.
The Usual Suspect. We're gonna do a review of it. We're gonna do Usual Suspect.
Yeah, we'll do a whole Usual Suspect review. What up to all the people who are joining us? We're here every Wednesday at 6:20 if you were interested. But this is going to be a brand stock podcast. We're going to talk about is the ending that we've seen in the show for Bran, is that the way it's going to end in the books? We're going to break it all down. Not a lot of people were happy with Bran becoming king. Not a lot of people agree that Bran will be king. We shall see if Bran will be king by the end of this and everything else. So as always, let's get it popping. And we got some people in here we have not seen in a while. My brother from another mother, straight up in the building right here. You know, Azor Ahai himself, Don Willie, is in the building rocking with us. What up, brother? What up to AK-47 rocking with us? What up to John Haymaker up in the building? Anime Lovers in here. Hi, I'm Allison is up in here rocking with us right now. But Jay Cruz, as always, is in here chilling with us right now, doing the damn thing. You know what I mean? We got a bunch of people in here chilling. Hopefully we get more. I'm sure they will, and all that good stuff. Christian Oles is in here. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to forget nobody. They're trying to forget anybody. We'll get it all popping soon enough. All right, let's see. Now, we've seen a lot in the show, and we've seen a lot from A Dance with Dragons and everything else that we know. So a lot of things we have already seen in here, and we know that it's already true. So we have to take it from, the point that the books end. If people aren't really familiar or remember exactly where the books ended for them, it ended. What happens is the Three-Eyed Crow, who Bran does learn is Bloodraven. They're inside the cave. They make it inside the cave. They get attacked by the whites. Bran goes into Hodor. He makes it inside the cave. We've seen that in the show. All right, now Brendan Rivers starts teaching Bran about greenseer and skin changing. Bran is fed weirwood paste, and this is supposed to awaken his greenseer gifts. He then enters the weirwood roots and then sees a lot of visions. After he does that, Bran tries to speak to his father, but it's only a whisper in the wind. Then Brendan does explain to Bran that he can only go back to the past, but it's impossible to change it. Bran then continues to explore in Hodor's body. All right, so he goes inside him, and while he does, Bran dreams to another heart tree, and basically that's where we leave off with Bran. I think that's probably the wrap. So We're going to start with the big thing that I've heard a lot of people talk about, and that is the weirwood paste. What is your theory on this weirwood paste? What do you think this paste is made out of, or what do you think about this weirwood? Because there's a lot of theories on it. So anyone who wants to jump in, we could just take it right from the weirwood paste.
Go for it, Bridge.
No, I mean, so the theory is that effectively we haven't heard from Jojen. Jojen's sick and dying. He sort of accomplished his goal, which is to get Bran to the tree. And now we don't know where Jojen is at this point. So the theory goes is that they've now killed Jojen, and they've used his body, turned it into a Jojen paste, so to say, and they've fed it to Bran as sort of a way to sort of kickstart his greenseeing abilities, give him a little.
Yeah, and I think
because Jojen's a greenseer, and thus it would help him, give him a little boost, so to say.
And I think it's interesting that the way that Bran describes tasting that paste, at first it tastes bitter to him, and then it becomes, by the end, he's like, this is sweet. How could I ever think this stuff was bitter? And he has a similar feeling when he tastes man flesh for the first time in Summer's body. So there are some sort of analogous situations to possibly the Jojen paste. Or if it's just a paste, it's a paste to help him tap into the weirwood net better, as Bridge was saying. It's a way of enhancing the powers, one way or another, whether Jojen's mixed in there or not.
But is it Jojen paste? Is this Jojen? Because what we know about Jojen, let's take it from there. We know that he's sickly. He makes it to the cave. He's slickly. We don't hear from him. We don't see him, but we don't really hear from Mira either, right, while he's in there. We know that Bran is lusting after Mira, right? And then he explores using Hodor. He's over here body-snatching Hodor, walking around, looking and sees a bunch of bones. And I think that's one of the reasons people are like, oh, there's bones in here. So they automatically assume, like, oh, there's bones in here. They're willing to kill things. So why not kill Jojen? What do you think? Let's go through it. Bridge, is this pace made of Jojen?
I've never actually, it may be. I've never actually looked into it in detail because it just doesn't interest me that much. Basically, she comes up to him with a bowl of acorns. Because you know what it is? I get really distracted just by the fact that in the show, Hodor is made out to be this hero. Whereas, like you were just saying, Bran's walking around. What really gets me in these final chapters is that Bran's walking around the cave. He's enslaving Hodor, and he's walking around against Hodor's will. Like Hodor's whimpering, and Bran's just getting used to being inside Hodor. And it's like he doesn't treat Hodor as a human; he treats Hodor as a vehicle. So I've never actually focused too much on the Jojen pace side of it. He very well may be. I know that there was a time a couple years ago where I heard it, and then I went back and read the chapter, and I'm like, "Ooh, that is pretty fishy." Because where's Jojen? And there's no mention of Jojen. There is a line here where she says, like, Mira's like, "He's being stupid. I'd hoped that when you found your three-eyed crow, but now I wonder why." I don't know. There's basically, they're setting it up like she's getting all sad, blah, blah, blah. But I've never actually specifically read the chapter with this Jojen-paced idea in mind. So I can't truly speak to it one way or the other. Personally, it's pretty dark. I don't necessarily like it.
All right.
It's definitely interesting because he's talked about a couple of times. Mira does say that. She goes on to say he wants to go home, and he's walking around there like he knows what his fate is going to be eventually. Like walking around, like when we do see him in the earlier chapter, was once they get there, he does get slightly healthier, and he's exploring and looking around, and then he kind of just disappears. So it is a little weird that he just disappears. And to Bridget's point about Hodor, what I noticed this in Bran's first chapter in Dance of Dragons as well, when he talks about when he first went into Hodor, he rationalizes it to himself. And by that point, he's completely rationalized it to himself. He rationalizes that first by saying, Hodor doesn't like it, but he knows it's me. I think he knows it's me. But if he doesn't know it's me, it's all right. And then by the third chapter, in Dance, he's just basically ignoring that. He's like, he whimpers far less than the last time I did it, and that's basically how he rationalizes it to himself. And it is pretty fucked up, Bridge, when you really think about it. And to that point, to go the step further to say that the children or whatever they're called in the chapter, with the dancing or the singers, that they wouldn't do something like that if it could further their goal. Because I think we're going to get there eventually. Having just recently re-listened to Bran's chapters leading up to this, they come off from hearing Tony's perspective, they come off, or Leaf comes off a lot more creepy. And I wouldn't put it past them.
Right. So, as everyone knows, I hate the Children of the Forest, right? Everyone knows this by now, right? I hate
to start that early.
Right. And that's just the bottom line I do. I would love to believe that this is Jojen Reed. This is something that these evil motherfuckers that I told you about did something. They put Jojen in some paste. But in all honesty, I cannot go with it whatsoever. I do not believe that that's the case. There is not one shred of proof in the books, anywhere, in any books, that says that this is Jojen. Nothing at all. The whole theory is based upon Jojen disappearing and no one hearing from her. Well, there's characters who disappear all the time and they come back. So the whole theory is based on that, and that it looks like blood. Well, if it's made of weirwood paste and we have red sap that looks like blood, I think it's pretty easy to see why it would look like blood. That's nothing new here. You know what I mean? So no one can tell me anything that was said in any of those chapters. And anybody want to put in the comments if you got something, please put up there that says this is weirwood paste. Next of all.
Oh, Tony, to your point though, with the exploring down there, is the weirwood tree is supposed to be really huge. So if he's lost exploring, it could easily be that he's just off exploring, disappearing, like Arya in the tunnels looking after a cat. He could have just gone far down there. The children even say there's caverns in this tunnels we haven't even explored.
Birdie's saying, "Come on now." I'm saying if anyone can offer up what a Teo can offer up any type of proof that this is Jojen, then please offer it up. From what I've seen and what I've read, there's nothing in the books that point to this being Janelle. As I said, I would love it to be, because I hate them, and it would seem like, hey, so people are just judging, hey, there's a cavern with bones. All right. I'm sure there would be bones. If they're hiding in there from White Walkers, they're not going to make a barbecue outside, right? They're not doing that and then saying, hey, let's go back inside the cave. They're going to be cooking inside. They got to eat. So the bones got to go somewhere. So there will be bones in there. Bones in there is not, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, of course, there's bones in there, there's bones in there. There's nothing going on there. You know what I mean? Like that. All right, let's.
So let me throw this out here, Tone.
Go ahead.
So she says,
Alicia Kingston's thing. Go ahead, Bridge.
So it's the boy looked at the bowl uncertainly. What is it? And then Leaf responds, I paced weirwood seeds. And the very next sentence is, something about the look of it made Bran feel ill. The red veins were only yada yada. So just knowing the way George R. R. Martin writes, like, I get it. That line does kind of jump out at you as suspect. You know, like he's looking at it. What is it? And then something about it made him feel ill. But that's the extent to which I think that's what prompted the idea. And I could dig it. Like if people want to believe that, that's in their headcanon, and they very well may be right. At this point, I'm not sold on it.
Yeah, I'm not, and I would say I haven't seen anything else that shows that drinking the blood of someone that has green sight makes your abilities better. Next thing I would say real quick is that it's when Bran tastes this stuff, it's the same exact taste in form that Dany gets when she drinks the shade of the evening.
Oh, really?
It tastes exactly the same. Right? First it was bitter, then it was this, then it was sweet. The same exact thing was that. So is that shade of the evening drink, is that made of Jojen too? Is that made of some greenseer blood? I mean, it would have to be, right? But it's not.
It's mass produced.
It's not at all. It's not made out of nobody's blood. It's just made out of the dark weirwood tree, right? So, and it's the same thing. So why wouldn't that be the exact same thing? If that's just the reverse weirwood tree, and this is the regular weirwood tree, why would it be different? It's the same taste. Dany ain't eat nobody, so why would Bran have to eat somebody? So I don't think that Jojen paste exists. I don't believe in it. I think it's a nice theory. I understand why people would think it, but there really isn't no evidence that really points towards it being true at all. Now at all, not whatsoever. So a big thing I want to talk about real quick about Bran and being inside this cave. It seems that when he's inside the cave, they make a little throne for him, right? They sit him down right next to Bloodraven. When we look at Bloodraven sitting there, you know, the weirwood tree has grown all through him. He's attached. Like he's stuck there. There's no getting out for him. Like his body's there. The only reason he's alive is through the veins of the tree. All right. He can't do anything else like that. What up to Anastasia watching from Facebook? Is in here. Join us from Facebook. A lot of people joining from Facebook. We are live on Facebook too on Teflon TV. If you wanted to watch there, if you can't get to YouTube, you can definitely always catch it right there. All right. So as I was saying, is Bran going to be in this same situation as Bloodraven? Is he going to get locked into the tree at some point, or is he going to escape?
That was kind of a question I was going to pose to you guys, some form of that. Will Bran ever actually get out of that cave, or will he be stuck there forever like Bloodraven? And that leads to I think the ultimate point of the ultimate theme of this whole thing. Will Bran end up being king? Like how does he, if he is to be king, and I know maybe whether we're going to get to what we believe there, but if we take into account what George says and he isn't trolling or he doesn't change his mind and Bran is king, then he has to, right? He can't lead from there unless they, you know, say the Iron Throne is destroyed, they just put a tree there and he like talks through the tree to somebody and he leads from the cave. So I guess no. To answer your question, no, I don't think he ends up there like Bloodraven. I think he does eventually leave, because I do think some sort of hold the door situation has to happen. Maybe not exactly like it was in the show, but we know that happens, right? So they need to get in there and kill Bloodraven, and I mean, I guess these are all questions that need to be answered, but so I do think he leaves in an escape when somehow they get into the cave.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to it's all the way back in. You know how people say George R. R. Martin is a gardener. He has a story and then he lets it grow. He is a gardener, but all authors are like partial gardener, partial architects. Like he's got an outline. His outline just might not be as detailed as other people's. So if you go all the way back to like, I think it's a Game of Thrones Bran 4 is 4 chapters. So like where Tyrion comes back. So like Hodor picks him up and goes to like walk him through the door. And then he even says, like George R. R. Martin writes, the only tricky part is doors. Cause it's when Hodor first starts carrying Bran, and he forgets that he has Bran on his back, and he like Bran will hit his head on the top of on the doorways as he walks through them. So this is like the whole like doors is something that's been part of Hodor's name for a long time. Like Hodor's name is about hold the door. And the showrunners, they went out, and it was like Entertainment Weekly or whatever, you know, whichever one of those websites is associated with the show. They said it's the first of the 3 holy SHIT moments. That line is going to happen. Yeah, I mean, he's going to, Bran's going to get out of that cave.
All right, so thank you for the super chat. Jenna S., thank you very much. We truly appreciate it. Bran is I got my
a Horcrux. It's from it's Harry Potter. Well, Harry Potter.
Watch your mouth, Jenna. No, just kidding. Did you get that?
Put my glasses on here. I don't want to put my glasses. Listen, so I will say that no. I'm going to tell you, Bran is not making it. Bran is not making out of that cave.
Interesting. Really?
Yeah. No. Bran does not make it out the cave, and people who think he does, then I think that you're terribly mistaken. There's no way Bran.
Chris and I are like,
it's impossible. It's impossible for Bran to make it out the cave. How people think? So
where do you think Hodor got his name from then?
Huh?
Where does Hodor get his name from then?
Well, listen, we haven't seen that yet happen. I'm not saying that that part's not going to happen or anything else like that's not going to happen. So what we seen from the show was that it was the Night King came and he was able to break. So we see no Night King. They already all whites out there. They fought to get in. The whites couldn't get in, right? There was no touching of Bran's arm that allowed them to get in there. So what would come in there that would be able to break down that tree and get them out of there? There's really nothing there that we see in the books yet that's going to chase them or drive them from that situation or anything, right? We don't see anything there. So I don't think that is there. So I have put it out there many times. I'm going to put it out there again. We're going to keep, I don't want to go into Bloodraven in this, but the guy is called the last greenseer, right? That's the title. The title that's given is the last. That guy who was the last, there was a last greenseer before Bloodraven. Last means there's nothing after you, right? If Bran became a greenseer, he would be the next to last, right? And then Bran would be the last. So it's impossible for Bran to become the next greenseer because this is the last greenseer. So the fact that this is the last greenseer means that he will body snatch Bran. The only difference, if it came down to somebody who had more weirwood network power, and that's what you need to stop the White Walkers, there would be no need for Bran. You would just use Bloodraven because he has the power. The only difference between Bran and Bloodraven that's except there is Bran has the ability to get out of there. He can leave. Bloodraven can't. So it's a mind swap. He's going to swap Bran's mind. Bran will wind up in that tree there, and then the greenseer goes inside Bran's body, and that's why he's the last greenseer. He did it to Bloodraven. He trapped his ass there. Now he's going to do it to Bran and trap Bran's ass there, and that's what he's been doing all these years. That is why he's considered the last greenseer, because he keeps jumping body to body.
Interesting. So you think, basically, just to sum this up in my own language to understand this, you think Bloodraven's going to do...
Not Bloodraven. Bloodraven's already gone.
Okay, the last greenseer, the being that inhabits the vessel that is Bloodraven, is basically like a symbiote that's just taking different host bodies and going into body, and Bran's the next one, and that ultimately leads to controlling of of the realm, and and it's part of the children and part of their payback for what the Andals or the first men did to them, or
that was the plan from the beginning. Because when you leave someone's body, right, and you walk into someone's body or something else, walk a skin change somebody else's body, you lose your abilities if you don't have them. So you have to have somebody with these abilities so you can maintain yours, right? So you have to have a special person. You can't just do it to anybody. That's why all these people come once in a generation. So we had no choice but to do it to him, because he's the one who has these powers. So now it's him. It was Bloodraven before him. Now it's him. And that's what he keeps doing. He keeps bouncing from body to body. This last greenseer, this Children of the Forest. It was the plan from the beginning. When the Targaryens arrived, all the way from the beginning of time, this was their plan. And this is what they were doing. And now he jumps in. So Bran dies. You even hear Mira say it in the show. Bran, you died in that cave. Right? She says that to him when he's outside the cave. You died. She goes, Bran, you died in that cave. You died inside there. You know what I mean?
Percy in the live chat says, damn, Tony, you just fucked up my head with that theory. And Jenna with the super chat donation, thank you so much, Jenna. She says, I wonder if the hold the door will be the opposite, to prevent him from leaving, possibly.
That would be hilarious if Hodor's like, damn you, Bran. Holds him inside.
You can't leave.
And the hold the door.
Now you can't leave.
Yeah, the hold the door situation is a sad situation, because it's not really Hodor holding the door. It's not him wanting. It's Bran forcing him to hold the door.
Yeah, forcing him to hold the door.
He's forcing him there to hold the door so he can escape. Right? Hodor didn't make a conscious decision to do that at all. So it's not, to me, it's not as heroic as it seems. It's a sacrifice that Bran's willing to sacrifice people. Not Bran, the three-eyed raven. See, maybe Bran wouldn't do a thing like that. The Bran that we know. But if it's not Bran, and it is the last greenseer, he don't give a fuck about Hodor. He'll go hold that door, motherfucker, I'm out. And that's it. Because it always has to come down in the end to what's the difference between Bloodraven, or the three. I will say Bloodraven, we know we're talking about the last greenseer, and Bran. And the only difference there is that it has the ability to leave. He's not stuck in that tree. And that's it. And that's the thing that they need. Because if it came down to like, oh, Bran has to learn all these powers in order to defeat the Night King, why wouldn't you just let Bloodraven do it? He knows all these powers. Why would he have to have him do it? The only difference is that this guy can leave in some form.
The only other difference would be that he can leave, and that the body could just be getting to the point. He's been around for X amount of years, and then eventually he does need to come up with another host body, because eventually that body will fail. So it could be a combination of those two things. But to your point, Bran can leave. Bran can go back into the world after they leave there, and Bran can go back into the world of men in a way that the Bloodraven's body, Brandon's body can't, because it's been infected with the trees. I'm not sure if I'm all the way there with you, Tony, but I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Like that. It's fun.
We'll get you.
I know you'll get me there. Like. I'm almost there. I want to be there.
We'll get you there when it's all said and done.
Because it doesn't have to go too far, because I think even the people that might not be all the way with you, and I see it in the chat, I think generally people do agree that the children in Bloodraven have another agenda going on. And
I do not believe that. I personally think they're like some of the most selfless people in the whole story.
They are Obi-Wan Yoda sort of.
Why do you think that, Bridge? What have they done to prove to you that's their case?
So let's assume that the children, for example, in the show that we saw, were like the last remaining children ever, last remaining singers of the forest. Mm-hmm. They literally sacrificed themselves for an entirely different species. Like that's something I wouldn't do.
Well,
they did.
When did they do that?
So as Mira's bringing them out with Bran, and she's pushing him on that sled, they waited there in the hall. Like they could have ran ahead because they're nimble little guys, but they waited in that hallway, and then first they fought them outside, then Leaf waited in the hallway, and then she sacrificed herself to sort of try to bring down the tunnel and buy them some time.
Yeah. So So if she's serving the last greenseer, her job is to protect the last greenseer.
Okay. So at this point, you don't think it's Bran at that point?
No, it's not Bran. Bran's gone already. So she's just protecting the last greenseer, which is a Children of the Forest, like this inside of Bran's body right there. So, I don't see them doing that. When we look at the whole reflection of the Children of the Forest, The number one thing dealing with the children of the forest, we'll do a stream about them and just talk about, but real quick, we'll just say the number one thing about them is that they tell you that they live long lives, right? They live long lives. That's the number one thing you have to remember. If you live a long life, you could play the long game. And that's the bottom line. And that's what they've always been playing, the long con, the long game from the beginning. And that's it. They're not doing anything but doing that, playing the long game. They've been playing the long game since the beginning when the Targaryens first landed.
And when they die, they put themselves into the crows, basically. So they never do really die. They exist within the net forever.
Let's talk about that real quick if we can. Go ahead, Bridge.
Just one other thing. So I gave you like a show example of why I think they're selfish. In the books, again, you could say that they're just lying here, but there's a paragraph. It's the paragraph that starts with like he says, "Where are the rest of you?" When he's asking Leaf, like, "Where are the rest of the singer?" Actually, they're not called the children of the forest. Everybody, they're those that sing the song of earth. Anyway, he goes, and then it's a paragraph I won't read the whole paragraph, but this paragraph that begins with, "We've gone down into the earth," she answered, "into the stones, into the trees, yada yada." So then she starts speaking about all the different species that basically have come and gone because of man. And it ends with saying, the great lions of the western hills have been slain. The unicorns are all but gone. The mammoths are down to a few hundred. The direwolves will outlast us all, but their time will come too. And here's the last sentence. "And the world that men have made, there is no room for them or us." So to me, it was a very sad sort of like farewell. Like she knew that her species was coming to an end, but she was going to try to help mankind move forward in a better way with the long night approaching. That's just we'll see, but that's how I interpreted that speech.
I want to believe that too, Bridge. I want to believe that too. I'm bouncing back between the two of you.
I don't interpret it like what you just said. I interpret her saying, she said that men is like the germ, and they infected this world to the point where they wiped her out, and she's just admitting like, hey, it's over for us. We lost. We tried to fight this war and we lost this war, and now there's no room for, it's just like any animal, right? If you look at a deer or something like that, and then man comes and starts building buildings instead of the forests and start building it and making it there's no room for the deer anymore, right? Yeah. So the deer gotta go, and that's just the way it goes. I think it's more like that. She's saying not it sounds sad because she lost the war, but it was their war that they fought and they lost, and that's it. So this is their last ditch effort with the last greenseer when they took over Bran to take over Westeros to regain control of their lands and stuff. Because the White Walkers and everything, we could go through that whole situation with the White Walkers and stuff, but obviously they're not no race. They were never created. They were created by the children of the forest, and it was just all propaganda. That's just the bottom line. If they were real, the children of the forest, if it was real, they lied, said they had nothing to do with the White Walkers whatsoever, had nothing to do with them, and they came from the lands of always winter, when they knew damn right they didn't come from the lands of always winter. There were no White Walkers in the lands of always winter, never. It says right in the beginning of the World Book, if anyone reads the World Book, it says there were only two creatures in Westeros in the beginning, the giants, and it says from dawn to the lands of always winter, there were only two species in Westeros: the children of the forest and the giants. That's it. Specifically says all the way up to the lands of always winter. There was no, so in the first paragraph of the World Diversified, it's telling you right there that there's no White Walkers. They were created. They weren't there. So that's just the bottom line. They're just dirty little tree humpers.
Jenna S, thank you so much. At best, they're misguided. At worst, they're malicious. They're like poisoned honey. No gift is truly a gift. It may benefit others, but that's not their motivation.
So here's the thing, though. Right after that sad paragraph, which is like, it's a really, really good paragraph, George R. R. Martin has a couple lines of Bran thinking like he's like that. That has two sentences. Then Bran has, it's like, it's all in italics. It's one of these times where George R. R. Martin is specifically trying to tell us something. And George R. R. Martin has Bran thinking, that's weird. She was sad when she said that. Men would not be sad. Men would be wroth and full of anger. So like, to me, that line was like, jumps out as George R. R. Martin saying like, listen, humans in this situation, humans get their ass kicked and they're about to like be exterminated. Humans would be pissed because that's how humans are. These singers, those who sing the Song of Earth, like, they're going down and they're sad. They're not even mad. They're not even mad that you guys basically killed them all. So that's just how I kind of love them. So that's just my biased interpretation.
They're mad. There's nothing. Listen, there's a certain time where you could be mad, but there's nothing you can do. Like, you know what I mean? Let's put it like this. Say you have a girlfriend, right? And say your girlfriend cheats on you with The Rock. And you have no access to it's you and The Rock. There's no access to anything.
You're gonna smell what he's cooking.
And she just says, listen, I'm leaving you for The Rock right now. You can be as mad as you want, but there's not much you can do, right?
I try to extort 10 grand at least.
Think about it and say, maybe I'll attack this man. When you see the size of his arms, you're like, have a good life, girl. You got to go. And sometimes there's something you can do about it. You know what I mean? You got to let it go. At this point, they got to let it go. And that's just the bottom line. It's just a done deal. You got to let them handle it. You know what I mean? That's it.
You lost.
It's like, you got to like that dude at a casino. You got to just come back and try to get some money once in a while. And just keep moving. And that's the way it goes. You know what I mean?
Now, the Dawn of Ice and Fire adds, the Land of Always Winter was created by the children when they created the White Walkers. I know this is turning into a children thing, but it's associated with Bran. It has a lot to do with it. We can keep going. Do you think, do either of you think, because I don't, do you think that we'll find out in the books, and I think you both touched on this already, that the White Walkers are created by the children?
The White Walkers were created by the children?
Yeah, do you think we'll find that out in the books?
Yeah, 100% they were. There's no doubt about it that they were created by the children of forest. It's pretty obvious that they did it, because if you look at the history, so you look at the first Long Night, how it really went down, right? They were losing. They had the long. First, they signed the pact, right? They signed the pact with the First Men. They say, Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here come these creatures from the lands of always winter. They come out of nowhere. They start destroying everyone. They got everyone's asses kicked right there, right? They're winning. So then they have to go and search for the children for help. They need the children's help at this particular time. Oh, please help us, mighty children. And then lo and behold, we have our ancient ways.
We have our nuclear option.
We know exactly how to defeat them. It just so happens to be you stick them with this glass and they die. Well, that's the whites, right? Well, fire kills the whites, but the White Walkers are killed by dragonglass. They messed that up in the show. They let everything get killed by dragonglass. But in the show, only the White Walkers are killed by dragonglass in the books, not the whites themselves. The whites got to be burned, right? So they messed things up. So all of a sudden, they figured this whole situation out. They help them defeat them, and still after they defeat them, they don't get what they want. They don't get their lands back. They're still pushed back and everything else. So they say, we're going to make, after they do this, knowing that they're the ones who created the White Walkers, and they knew how to stop them from the beginning, we're going to put this magical wall up there for you now, and that's going to protect you from them if they ever come back to invade and stuff like that, because these creatures came from the lands of always winter. It was all propaganda. It was all a story that they made up from the beginning.
Teo says children of the forest are shady. They're like a diamond in the players club. It's set up. Bran, you're in danger, girl.
That's what it is. Go ahead, Bridge.
I have a question for you. If we just fast forward, I know we're speaking about the books, but in terms of the show, if we go to the end of, there were 6 episodes in the final season, right? Was it 6? So go to episode 5, the one with King's Landing. Yeah. At the very end of the bells, at the very end of it, or maybe in the beginning of episode 6, whatever. So Arya Stark, she has her journey up to the Red Keep to Maegor's Holdfast, then she has her journey down. Everything's going crazy around her, like everyone's running, and eventually, all of a sudden, she finds herself with a horse. The way I interpreted that is that Bran Stark is now finally sort of gotten control. That was Bran Stark sending his sister a horse. So if in the show version of the story, at least, do you think that was a children of like a last greenseer that saved her life? Do you think it was a random horse that just hung out there?
All right, so I think that's the last greenseer is inside Bran's body at that time, and no, that was just a goddamn horse that was the same. That horse didn't have no glowing eyes. We didn't see the horse. If that was the case, it was a warged horse. They would show the eye to prove that was the case. It's the same thing as if you watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or you watch any spy movie where people are cased and all of a sudden a car pulls them, get in. And then they get in and they drive. That's what it was. All right. It was that type of scene, just medieval times. Here's a horse.
It happened.
Just happenstance.
It did happen to Bran. Yeah, it happened to Bran. It happened to Braun in the dragon situation after he got he like got up and there was the horse that he ended up saving Jaime on in a season before when the dragon attacked the Lannister group and Braun got knocked off and then he turned around and there was another horse waiting for him. It is Tody's right. It's that TV cliche of the escape car is right there for you.
That's it. That's all it was. I mean, listen.
But I'd love it to be what that is.
If they did that, if they truly did that, you would have seen the horse's eye pull back. They would have had to show that to let you know. If not, it makes no sense to. It was just the get in. It was that situation, but the damn horse can't talk, so the horse didn't. Yeah, okay.
The horse was misread. He was like,
there was literally not a single living thing around for like 100 yards. Just one horse, and he wasn't even moving. You know, like the dragons are flying around, the buildings are falling down, and he's just standing there chilling, waiting for it. It just, to me, that was Bran inside that horse saving his sister's life.
I mean, again, I like that thought. I'm not sure if I'm there with that one, but I like it. It's
a beautiful thought. You know, but if you think this thing has a happy ending,
you're watching the wrong shit. Jenna with another super chat. Do you think
we love Jenna?
Do you think Bran will take over as de facto leader of the Children of the Forest and become the king that way and not necessarily that of the Seven Kingdoms? And I'll add to that question, or could Bran theoretically become king in the North in a weird way or something other than king of the 7/6 kingdoms?
It's the Children of the Forest sitting on the Iron Throne at the end. It's the last greenseer. Finally, Westeros reclaimed by the children who they took their land. Now they finally reclaim their own land. Now they run the show. The last greenseer runs the show. And if Bran's thing is working, he'll be able to put his blood into someone else, and they'll go on that way. But that's what it is. It's them finally winning back their lands that have been stolen from or taken from the beginning. That's what they do. That you know, kind of like, you know, it's like, what was that movie with Goldie Hawn's daughter and the hoodoo magic? You remember that movie?
With Kate Hudson?
Skeleton Key.
I don't know if I saw that.
Was that skeleton? And that's what happened while it was going on. I don't want to give it away if people never seen that, but what was going on in there? There were you know, people who were slaves back in the day, and they were jumping from body to body of people, and over all the generations, and that's what they were doing. And then they would just kept doing it. And it's the same exact secret. It's the same exact thing.
There's a Star Trek race that does that too. The Trill. They're like these little. I don't want to get all Star Trek into it, but they basically pick a member of the society every time a body's about to die, and then they get the little worm thing taken from your stomach and it gets put into another body.
Dave is like, no spoilers. Listen, the movie came out in 1981, bro.
I was talking about that last night. When is the spoiler? We have the 20 years.
There's got to be a 10-year rule or something.
Even if there was a 20-year one, you'd be okay.
It came out at least 20 years. Listen, if y'all can, please do us a favor right here. We are the usual suspects. We do this every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. You can set your clock to it. We're talking a different subject every week, different person or whatever you want. Hit that thumbs up button if you can. We need to get some more. I can't see the exact likes, but from what I'm seeing, it's not what we have as people watching it.
I know we got about 91, 92 people watching. Everyone that's watching right now, if you can hit that like button, it would be very, very
helpful. That like button, hit that thumbs up button. The more likes we get, the more YouTube will push it out, the more people will be in the chat. That's just that's the way it goes. And that's the way. All right. So we are still talking about Bran Stark. That's what this whole issue is about Bran Stark and him dealing. We're still dealing with him inside the tree, because that's where we left him at. So Bran's in the tree, regardless of if you think that he's not the greenseer, doesn't matter at this particular time. We all agree that he's got to leave the tree.
He has to. I mean, with what we definitely know from George, that the hold the door situation exists in some fashion. He needs to leave there. I don't think he's stuck there for life. No.
All right, so Jen S says, super chat. Thank you so much, Phil. Phil is the super chat reader. So can you please hold that one?
So to be clear, we believe it's Bran's body, but not his mind. Not so much possession like a demon, but like get out, like a takeover.
Bran is in the corner quivering, just like Hodor was in the corner. So what happened to what Bran was
like
doing to Hodor is getting done to him. And eventually, as they say, when you take over a body, you become that person, right? So eventually Bran will get pushed out all the way and there'll be nothing there. So Bran was covering in the corner, and I believe in the end he got mind swapped, and then his body went into the three-eyed raven's body and is just stuck in the tree. There's nothing he could do there. And then this guy's holding it down.
Melinda Murphy says the children of the forest equal Keebler elves with worse food.
There's a line though where Brendan's talking to Bran. I'm trying to find it. It's in this chapter somewhere, and he says something like, "Bran, you can't speak to the people because they're in the past." Blah blah blah. Through the visions, they're like we've all had people we've wanted to speak to. Like I've had a brother I loved, a brother I hated, and a sister I loved. So to me, that was presumably it was Brendan Rivers, not like some like guy who took over Brendan Rivers, but it was Brendan Rivers saying like the brother he hated would have been like Daemon Blackfire, Bittersteel. Brother he loved to be King Darren II, and then Shira Seastar. It was probably Bittersteel.
Don't you get the memories of the person when you walk them? Don't you have all their memories in them, so you would know all that, right?
Yeah, but just the way he was saying it came across as very personal. It came across like
when he first in there, he didn't even remember who he was, right? When he first asked him, he goes, "Huh? Am I Bran?" Right? That's what he asked, right? Then when he remembers, "Oh yeah.
I was once known as Brandon, maybe."
So listen, he's trying to con this motherfucker, right? He's trying to get trust into him. So he's gonna say what he got to, but listen. The bottom line is this: when you look at Bran and you look at the children, and you look at the guy who's and you look at Brendan Rivers in their situation, right? It's the same exact situation that Arya Stark goes through, right? When they show the description of Brendan Rivers, it's the same exact description they give of the kindly man when he opens up the door of the house and undying, right? They both got the worm hanging out of their eye. Now Arya goes and she grabs that worm. She's not afraid, right? So they're both in the exact same situation of the person, saying that they're both in bad situations. Arya's in a bad situation. He's in a bad situation. It's both, and they're both brothers and sisters. That's what it is, and it's all the same thing and stuff like that. So, I just think that's the way it's going to be when it's all said and done with Bran and stuff. So, all right. So since we see him there. What about the thing that we hear? He says, "You never walk again, Bran, but you will fly." Now. A lot of people have speculated that means that Bran is going to walk a dragon. He's going to walk a dragon. He's going to fly. What do you think that actually means?
My favorite part of that is the warging it's warging the dragon so Tyrion can fly it. That's what I've heard. That like it's to help Tyrion be able to fly the dragon. It's there. Tyrion learned about dragons. He's gonna fly it. I don't think that's gonna happen, but again, that seems to be my thing tonight. I like it. So even theories that are complete tinfoil BS, I enjoy listening to and almost indulging the thought in. But I think it means in the crows, right? That he's gonna fly, or his memories will fly through time, fly through history. But I think if we're gonna take it literally, it's flying through the birds essentially. And then, but I think it's more of a metaphoric that his consciousness will forever fly through history, like Quantum Leap.
I don't look at it as I do agree that it does allude to the fact that Bran can like fly through birds, like literally. But I've always looked at I've never bought into the whole fact that Bran's going to be like warging a dragon.
Yeah,
I've always looked at it as flying is a term for green sight. He's going to be flying through space and time, so like a figurative flying. I'm not sure if there's any line specifically from the text. I'm going to look through my old notes and see if I can find anything. But yeah, as of now, just high level, I think it's another word for green sight. Actually, let me add this. So Bran always wanted to be a knight. That was his big thing. We learned, I think it was in A Storm of Crows. He was like, he always wanted to be a knight. And then obviously he was paralyzed, so he couldn't be a knight. There's a chapter, which is it? I think it's a Game of Thrones chapter 6 or 7, where Maester Lewin's telling him about maesters and how maesters are very diversified in what they study. And he says maesters are knights of the mind. That's another name that they have for themselves, are knights of the mind. That's like a teacher being like, yo, I'm a badass teacher, right? But anyway, my whole family are teachers. I love teachers. But like a knight of the mind. And effectively, like Bran, by becoming a greenseer, he becomes the biggest night of the mind in a way. So like, I don't know, I do tend to have like rose-colored glasses, but I think Bran ends up becoming exactly what he wanted to be, which is just a night of the mind.
You know, I love that. In Melinda in the chat before we run over to Tony says he's going to be thrown out the moon door, and we that's how he's going to fly. And Jenna asks, we have another super chat donation. She said,
I love Jenna.
Do you think Bran will see Jon on the other side and guide him back, or tell him his true truth? I just really hate ghosts dying. I'm still on that from last stream.
All right, so I'm sorry about that, but he's gonna die. I'm gonna explain to you exactly why that has to happen, and I'm gonna go back to explain this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to Varys. All right, another manipulator. Right. All right. So it goes like this. This is the way it is. Varys knew that Rhaegar was planning on overthrowing King Aerys, right, at the tourney of Harrenhal. He knew that. That's why he convinced the king to show up there. Because Varys' master plan, in the end, obviously this happens later on down there, is to work with Illyrio and to destabilize the realm, to keep the realm destabilized long enough so that the Blackfires eventually can come take over, because he's a Blackfire himself. That's exactly what's going on here with Bran and them, right? When it comes down to the end, it's the destabilization of this whole situation. The only reason, now this is the last greenseer, right? At this particular time, if Jon and Dany link up, there is no way that the last greenseer gets to sit on the Iron Throne. No way, because Jon can link up with Dany. Then they'll have babies. They'll have the army. They'll have a dragon. The last greenseer is done. He's going to be sitting in the wheelchair in Winterfell. That's it. That's not his plan. His plan is to sit the Iron Throne. The only way to throw a monkey wrench is to tell Jon of his true parentage. What did that do? That did exactly that. Daenerys says it. If people learn who you are, it's going to fuck everything up. And he ran his mouth to Sansa. Sansa found out. She ran his mouth. Boom, it fucked everything up. And that was it. That's exactly what's going on. That's why that was done. It's not so that Jon could learn his true parentage. It is so that there is no one that can stop the last greenseer from sitting on the Iron Throne. Dan and Johnny are too strong of a couple. Everyone would love to see them on a throne together. That would have been great. You can't do it. Just like Rhaegar. Rhaegar gets on the Iron Throne, the Blackfires ain't got no chance in the world. They need a weak king so that when the Blackfires come, they say, look at this king. He's disgusting. Let's take it over and stuff like that. Now, Robert gave them the opportunity to do that later on and stuff, and he called him usurper. But that was the reason why not to have Rhaegar on the throne, why he didn't want Rhaegar. And this is the same reason why they don't want Jon and Dany on the throne. There's nothing else listen, Bran's powers did nothing but expose that Jon was Rhaegar's kid. All that walking that they went up there for, all that training was just that Gilly figured it out without half that training. Same shit, right? So that's all it accomplished, was throwing the monkey wrench between them and be destroying them from the inside. So that's where I think that is.
George has said repeatedly the story will end the same. This is what OTDA says. George has said repeatedly the story will end the same way, just different ways to get there. He's not finished with the book, so it's all speculation. Doesn't care about books or book readers. So then a couple of these questions that we're talking about with Hodor holding the door, Bran escaping out there, Bran reaching king. I keep wanting to ask the same question. Would George change it? Would George be trolling Dan and Dave and give them an ending that he's not really going to present? I don't think so. I think the ending is Bran ends up king, but I think it's going to be more satisfying. Maybe I'm eating the Jojen paste. I think
before we hit the king thing, we got some things to discuss. Before that, still, we got another super chat from Jenna. We love you, Jenna.
She says, damn, Bran is really going to be a snitch for his own again. Tony, you kill me with logic, but I love it.
Well, thank you very much. That's all he did. And I told you from the beginning, the children of the forest are nothing but snitching ass peeping toms. From the beginning, that's their whole MO. The children of the forest MO, warging, body snatching, is letting somebody else fight the battle for you while you stay safe. That's their whole thing. They're spies, and that's all they've done. They've been doing this from the beginning, and that's just the bottom line. Yeah, as OTDA says, hit the thumbs up button. You know what I mean? Let's get them thumbs up going up there straight. Let's keep going there. Now, I would say again,
Miss Duncan.
I would say 100% that the Bran flying thing has nothing to do with a dragon. And this is what makes me, this is the whole feeling I have like on Jojen pace. I think when so many people think that's what's going to happen, usually that's not what's going to happen. Not everyone is usually right. So when so many people are behind a certain theory, it makes me know that that's not the right way it's going to go because it's too obvious. It's not going to be that. You know what I mean? So no, he's not going to walk a dragon. There's no sense of him walking a dragon. Why would he need to do that? It doesn't serve any purpose for him to walk a dragon, you know, and Tyrion is never going to fly a dragon. This is not happening. If he was going to do it, you would have seen it in the show. You know that they would give Peter Dinklage a dragon if that was what was written? They would have loved to put his little ass on the dragon. But a little dude on a dragon is stupid. So that's why they didn't do it. And that's not going to happen. That's what it is. So, no, I would say I love Bridges' idea about him flying through times and stuff like that and everything else. But I really think it's more the crows and everything else. And we've seen him with the crows and everything. And if he's going to fly, it's most likely the crows and everything. If I had to pick something up, that's what I would go with.
As someone said, that's Bran who's pissed off behind you. That's the children of the forest have warged into the dog at your place.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the dogs. I'm trying.
Oh no, don't worry about it.
I'm sorry. I'll mute my mic for the dogs. I don't know that someone's at the door, so they're just going crazy by the door. That's what they do.
Chris Hansen's about to roll up to the land of always winter to catch the predators, says AK. And do not take the brown Jojen paste. The brown Jojen paste is bad. Do not take the brown acid.
So we do see next. I think next part we could talk about a little bit here is Bran does see there's some visions when he's in there, right? Some visions. Let's see if we can go through these visions and break down the visions and see if we can do them all and break them all down and see what it is. So, who do we have the visions? Bridge 4.
Yeah, we've got them.
All right. Let's go through them one at a time. Now, I think a couple of them are obvious, right? So,
Phil, you have them through the website. I have the Kindle open. You do them through the website. I'll correct you if you're missing something.
I think so. Yeah, correct me if these aren't one. The first one, his young father praying with a bowed head. Let them grow up as close as brothers, with only love between them, and let my lady wife find it in her heart to forgive. I think that one's the most obvious one, right?
Yeah. That's pretty obvious that they're talking about Jon Snow and Catelyn. But see, this is the whole thing about Ned Stark. If he really, if he's saying that this is what he truly wanted, then he should have told his wife the truth. Yeah, I mean, you still allowing your wife to call the kid bastard all these years, right? So he's like, I can't with Ned Stark. I just can't because he talks all this shit. Oh, let them grow up as close as brothers. Let them do this and that. But yet you ain't taking the steps to allow that to happen because you allow your wife to call him bastard because she don't know the truth. And you could have shut that down at any time and said, yo, because if it was my sister's child, comes lives with me, and my wife ain't disrespecting that child. Never. If I seen it once, I would say, listen, you got to go. If this is, you can't take this. It's one or the others. You're going to go, and that's going to be it. Smash this child. And if you love that woman as much as you did, or if you claim to, and you could trust her, then you should tell her the truth. You should have just told her. What do you think about that, Bridget? Is Ned wrong for not telling Catelyn the truth?
I think Ned's wrong in so many different ways in the story. That's not one of the ways I think he's wrong, only because like it's so hard to put ourselves into their situation. They live in a monarchy, right? And it's literally his best friend would kill his nephew, his sister's child. So the whole point of like the woman who he loved the most, and in a platonic way, but the woman who he loved the most was his sister, Lyanna Stark. And she gave him like a dying request, promise me, Ned. And that promise was to protect her son. So it's like, if you tell, like he eventually, he's forced into marriage with Catelyn Stark. They ended up being one of those lucky pairs that grew to truly love each other. They grew to truly love each other. But even at the point where it's like, all right, maybe you don't tell her right away, but once you've gotten through years and years of marriage, and you know that like you've got 100% of your love for her, she's 100% of her love for you, you trust her. it's just not worth taking that little risk of telling her the truth, because that one drunken night she may slip and say it to someone, or she may say it in her sleep. It's like Ned's the type of guy that he literally promised his sister, I will do anything I can. What?
Who is she sleeping next to that she's gonna say it to? That someone's gonna hear. I mean, if she's fucking someone on the side, it's a different situation, bro. She's pretty loyal to the guy, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Point.
Mr. Lewin's always creep walking in there with her naked, though.
Mr. Lewin in the book's
willing to her to believe that this is Ned, just because Ned's got a goddamn ego. And this is what people never want to talk about, his damn ego. He wants the realm to believe that he kicks her off his damn ass when that was not the case, but he allowed everyone to live that lie. Yep, I'm the one who kills her off his
and he gave Jamie shit.
He'll never bring up Howland Reed. He just takes that lie, and now his second, this is my Shara Dane's baby. Yeah, the hottest chick in the realm I slept with. She had my kid. Yeah. And he lets her believe that lie right there, right? So he just lets people believe the lies because he wants to seem better than he really. Shara Dane didn't want your bitch ass. She wanted your brother Brandon. All right.
Everyone wanted Brandon.
And that's the facts, and that's what it is. And you didn't beat Sir Arthur Day in the fight. He was whooping your ass, and that was the body. He whipped you and all your boys' ass at the same time. And you just got lucky.
Damn Jan Brady of the Stark family.
He did admit, I think he admitted to Bran. It was like the one person that he admitted. Like he said if it was not for Howland Reed, ... or something like that. But he basically implied to Bran that Howland Reed saved his life. But that's the only person. Like, yeah, you're right. The rest of the North, everyone talked about how Ned beat Arthur Dane when it didn't happen.
No. He's just a big ego on. But I say still on this topic, you got to tell you what, if you love this woman, she's done nothing but prove her loyalty to you all this time. Her whole life is based on family first, duty, honor next, period. Family always comes first. That's the reason why she agreed to marry Ned in the first place, because family comes first. This was her family, protecting her family. That would have been it. I think that she would have kept that secret. There's nothing that shows that she wouldn't have kept that secret.
But it's he literally had his sister die in his arms and say, "Promise me, Ned." That's a hard promise to break in any way, shape, or form. I'm saying not right off the bat, you don't tell her, but 10 years, 11 years down the line, you know what I mean? Say, listen, I got to tell you something, honey. This is not my child. I didn't cheat. She was just mad that he cheated on her. That was her big thing. If he would just told her, listen, I didn't cheat on you, baby. I didn't. I wouldn't do that. I didn't cheat on you. This is what the deal is. And you know what Robert would do to this child. I can't have that. She'd be all about it. So I got to just have that slide. I agree. I think that Catelyn gets a bad rap. There's a lot of people just don't like, listen. I'm with you real quick. I love Lady Cat. I love Lady Cat. Like, so I'm totally with you. It would have worked out better if he had told her.
A couple people in the chat have.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Fausto says, "Nah, don't tell Kat, because if it came between her kids and Jon, she would have given up that information." Can we please stop acting like Kat in Ned are in love? Says Teo. She went on Who Wants to Marry a Stark and married the runner-up. So
I think I agree. In the beginning, she wasn't in love with him, but I do believe that she grew to love him.
100%.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think she grew to love him. I think she agreed, after all the time being up there and everything else. I think she grew to love him. I think that's. But she did what she had to do for her family. We got another super chat from Jenna. We love Jenna.
This is a question I was going to put out there too, because I was listening to it, or I heard someone bring this up. Three people can't keep a secret. Ned, Howland Reed, and burdened heavily by it. Off topic, but what do you think about the Bran and Euron stuff? Will they meet in some astral plane, team up, or will there be a throwdown? Bridge, do you have any thoughts on the astral plane and Euron stuff?
I who wrote this?
Jenna.
We love
Jenna.
Yeah, you just had too big of a smile on your face. I had to throw that to you.
I've never thought about the meeting in an astral plane and all.
Yeah, there's some sort of theory that some of the stuff that the Night King does in the show will be Euron in the books on that astral plane situation, like killing Bloodraven will be Euron. I went down a rabbit hole last night or the other night of someone bringing that sort of stuff up. So I don't know if I don't subscribe to it, but I have heard of it. I've been around it and listened to it, but I don't don't subscribe to that. But it's again, book Euron is a lot more interesting, but not that interesting.
Yeah, no, I don't see that. There's not enough information for me to speculate or to have come up with that kind of idea. So I've never thought about it.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, listen, people are giving Euron too much.
Yeah,
they're giving him too much power, too much ability than what he truly is. Listen, the most Euron can do is ride a dragon because of the dragon horn. That's it. There's no other thing with Euron. He's not a greenseer. I know the eye, he's not a green. He's not this. He's not. There's nothing there from. He is what he is. And I think people just want him to be more than what he is and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't read his chapters in a while, the ending of it, but correct me if I'm wrong. He does have Valyrian steel armor, right? Or is that might be from like the Winds of Winter chapter? I think it is.
He does have
Forsaken.
Yes, he has that, which is Jon Snow's armor in the end. And I made a video about that like 4 years ago. That's Jon Snow's armor. That's the armor that Jon Snow will wear when he fights the Night King. Is that Valyrian steel armor? Yeah, he'll kill Euron and get that armor. That's why it's black and red, because it's Jon Snow's armor. That's the reason why because you have to have. Yeah, if y'all want to know, just go on my channel and look up, or just Google, put in YouTube Jon Snow's armor, and you'll see like 4 or 5 years ago I made this video up about how that's going to be Jon's armor. Because when you look at the real White Walkers from the books and everything, and they did this once in the show. When Sam tried to hit him with the sword, he grabbed the sword and just shattered it because he's so cold. So if regular armor doesn't work against them, because they could just touch it and shatter it. That's why, and I got another video too, explaining why Royces wear bronze armor. I did a video about that, and the reason why they wear bronze armor is, if you look it up, you'll see that bronze becomes stronger in the cold. The colder it gets, the stronger bronze becomes, and that's the reason why the Royces wear bronze armor. But you can look up that video too. I did that, made that theory up a long time ago too. But you can look those both up. So I really can't, Jen. I really wish I could go on with that with Euron, but I don't see Euron having mental powers like the Night King or anything else like that. We got another super chat from Joanne Evans. Thank you so much. Will Bran be the great other that R'hllor is pitted against?
That's the interesting thing about the Bran story, because
let me change that, because go ahead, because
we're at such a proto point to where his story eventually goes there. It leaves a lot of opportunity for interesting places it could go. The Bran meets Euron on an astroplane. He's the great other. I mean, the where his story is and how it connects to Bloodraven and connecting through all history, it gives the potential for a lot of things. That being said, I don't think he will be the great other that R'hllor is pitted against. But it's again an interesting thing that's kind of fun to think about.
So I think there's a specific reason why people would ask that question, and I think it comes from Melisandre's one chapter in A Dance of Dragons, where she's like, I asked for visions of like the great other, and then they showed her like the face of a boy in a weirwood tree. So it's almost like the readers then like, wait a second, is Bran the great other? And I don't think that's the case. I think that's a misdirect from George R. R. Martin.
I think that does show that the children of the forest are the great other also. So if you're looking at it depends. If you're looking at the great other, like being the evil people in there, Melisandre says in her chapter specifically that the reason why she doesn't go to bed is because of fear of the great other, because they go inside your dreams. If you go from that and her being shown Bran, then you would have to say that the great other is the children of the forest, who did create the White Walkers. So as a whole, when you look at it like that, then yes, without a shadow of a doubt, they are the great other. Bran is the great other. Bloodraven, the last greenseer, is the great other. They're the ones who go inside people's dreams. That's the reason why she's scared to go to sleep, because she doesn't want someone taking over her. They're the ones who do all that. If you look at all the abominations, right, that you're not supposed to do, all the things that you're not supposed to do, Bran does all of them, right? The last one he hasn't done is sex, right? So what are the 3 abominations? Number 1 is you're not supposed to eat flesh of a man when you're in the war form. He does that. That's done. The next one, what's the next abomination? You're not supposed to take over a man.
Human, yeah, and he's done that in several. We've talked about that at the beginning. It becomes everyday activity for him. He starts rationalizing it to himself.
Yeah, so that's that. And the last one he hasn't done is you're not supposed to have sex with another beast while in a beast, right?
You think he's going to go into Hodor and have sex with Mira?
You know, I talked about that before a long time ago, and people thought I was like crazy for even bringing that up.
That honestly, I wouldn't doubt that as one of Hodor's last moments. And I just want to say we have about 108 to 10 people watching right now. If you can hit that like button right now and help it get out. Thank you to everyone for tuning in this week again for the Usual Suspects podcast.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, I think it would have to be a rape, because I don't think that Mira would agree to have sex with Hodor. So it comes down to, would Bran actually physically rape Mira?
No.
With Hodor, and
it would also be a rape of Hodor, actually.
You know, so it would come down to, is that possible? I wouldn't put anything past Bran at all. I wouldn't put anything past that bastard at all. Everything else he's done, and I think that's where that's where the theory comes from, that Bran goes back in the weirwood tree, gets the direwolves, has sex with the direwolf mother, and then that's why he's the father of all the direwolves that they find. I think that's how that theory comes about, because Bran does that. He's already done 2 of the abomination things. He's going to do the 3rd. There's no way around that. He's going to do it. So, how he does it, we don't know, but that definitely is going to happen. So I agree. I say yes to Joanne, that yes, Bran is the great other. And so was the Children of the Forest. They're definitely the great other when you look at the whole situation. And as I said, when you look at Bloodraven, you look at the House of the Undying, you know, where they worship the many-faced god, and also the god of death in there. It's the same face. That there's a reason why it's the same face.
Carl Funk says, Tony, he doesn't know any better. No one has taught him the warg ways. No one has taught him the gremlin rules of the warg.
I don't think anyone has said to him the deal, but those are still it's still the abominations, though. They're letting us know. You know, he's just feeling. I don't think he's purposely checking them off his list, saying, all right, this is bad to do, this is bad to do, this is bad to do. But he's doing them. All the bad things he just tends to be doing for some reason. So yeah, Bran is what it is with Bran. He's definitely the great other, without a shadow of a doubt. If that's what you want to.
And our good friend from Argentina, that I don't want to destroy your name again this week, is Bran going to become evil or something like that? Do you think the children are evil creatures? To answer, Tony says that yes, Tony absolutely thinks that the children are evil creatures.
Yeah, it's not Bran anymore. You got to get the Bran out of it. It's not Bran. Bran's dead. He dies in a tree. It's the last greenseer, and who is the Children of the Forest, and the Children of the Forest are evil creatures. They've been evil from the beginning, and that's just the bottom line. If you want to sympathize with them and say, hey, they're just doing what was done to them and taking back what was theirs, it was their land to begin with, then you can too. But to me, any person that is willing to body snatch a human being is evil. That's just the bottom line to me. And
Jenna says, another super chat donation from Jenna.
Jenna.
I just don't think Bran is on a hero's journey. He's like Tyrion. He's going down a bad path, but unlike Tyrion, he doesn't know it. It's sad. So is Bran's path ultimately? That's why I like hearing Bridge talk about it, because Bridge has much more of an optimistic perspective, and I want to believe in that optimistic perspective. Is Bran's story ultimately going to be? And I know we're getting to the point of talking about if we think he's going to be king. So I think this kind of leads there. Will his story be a happy one or a sad one? You know, I think that's a general question, and I mean everyone's gray, and I know life, but I mean the general theme of Bran's story. Will it be something like Tony's saying, where it's he's being used as a vessel for a creature through time to take control and power, or is it going to be more about unlocking history and something more cheesy like Tyrion's speech at the end of the series. And I'm not saying either one's good or bad. I trust George getting there, but yeah, it's bridge. Talk about how it's going to be a positive.
So here's the positive takeaway involving Bran is that remember when Tyrion was over in the show, this obviously hasn't happened yet in the books, but when Tyrion was over in the show talking with Grey Worm, they're walking down little rampway, and he's like, it's unfortunate, but change takes time, right? You can't just go from a world of slavery to a world without it, like click your fingers and it worked. Unfortunately, these things take time. So my major takeaway from the very last episode of the show version of the story is that you've got a council room where you've got King Bran, but Bran wasn't even in that room. He came in, said hello, and had Podrick push him out. That it was sort of like a nod. And then not only that, there was symbolism in the fact that you had a diversified group of people all arguing with each other. So it was almost like a nod towards like the first step towards moving in a more democratic fashion years down the line. But obviously they still have a monarch, but now it's a hands-off monarch who's at least leaving the decisions in a council as opposed to himself being the monarch. So I actually do think Bran will be king, and I never envisioned that until it happened in the show. But now I see it, but I see it happening in a way that he's not actually a king. Because anyone else that you put there, if you put me as in the position of being a king, I'm going to be like, all right, well, I don't really believe in kings, but I'm going to make a pretty damn good king, you know? So, yeah, I think it ended up perfect, to be honest, for humankind.
Yeah, I would say this to Rick. Has Bloodraven taken his body? No, that's my theory I came up with, Rick. I'm the one saying it. No one said that but me. I mean, other people have taken it. I'm doing,
You're going to see 10 videos out this week on that subject, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, that's my theory. That's what's going to go. That's the way it's going to go.
Oh, wow.
Down.
We just got 2 back-to-back more super chats, one from Sean Johnson. Thank you to all the love people.
Let's go through them real quick. We'll go through them.
Nothing to say really. Just sharing some of this Dogecoin money. Keep up the good work, guys.
Dogecoin, I think is going to be. I got some money myself in Dogecoin. I think there's a bigger one though. I think I can't give up the secret to it yet. I got a bigger one in Dogecoin that I think's going to blow up more than that. But yeah, I got some money in Dogecoin. So.
We got Jenna that says, all right, one last one. Sorry, guys, got to go pet sit. Just want to say love you guys as always. I look forward to these so much. All the love and stay safe. Thank you so much, Jenna. And
thank you, Jenna. We truly appreciate all you do to support us in this channel. Go have fun dog sitting, and as always, peace and stay sexy. It wouldn't be the same without you here, baby. So
and Shauna Bass, thank you so much, Shauna, says, I think Bran becomes an actual god. God isn't good or evil, simply an observer. He knows all, but allows human choice, no matter how good or evil, much like in our own world.
But we don't see that with Bran from the show. He comes down and listen.
He's looking for a Drogon for his own reason.
He comes down and he says, "Oh, you're gonna be king." He goes, "Yeah, I know. That's why I came."
Why the hell you think I came down?
I know I'm king. I know. He already knows. So you got to understand, when you deal with the children of the forest, they have the ability to see not only the past, but the future. They know all that stuff. So that's why it's not Bran. Bran is dead. He gets body snatched, brain swapped over, and that's it. Dr. Doom has done that many a times to his own body and went to somebody else's body.
I keep thinking of Ra's al Ghul too. Is that Ra's al Ghul did it to his own daughter? He had a daughter just so he could take over her body.
Yeah, this is not like a new thing. And George R. R. Martin's a big comic book fan, so this is something that's been done over and over again. And that's the way it's going down with Bran. It's not Bran. Bran's dead. Everyone needs to get the Bran out of your head. Bran is gone. He's squashed. He's cut. Y'all can believe what you want. In the end, the die will be right. And I'm trying to tell you, he's out of here. It's the last greenseer sitting on that damn Iron Throne when it's all said and done. So I think that, so if you say Bran won't become the god is the last greenseer, who is the great other, who's considered a god. If you want to put it on that pedestal, we can. I think that would be more feasible than actually Bran, because Bran's dead. He's got his body. He's in that tree, and that's it. He's stuck in that old man's body. And it's over for Bran.
Sorry, Jason.
But since we do have, we had Alicia. She was here for a little while, right? The one who does the show with us and stuff like that.
AK?
No, not AK. The other Alicia.
But AK does. You're right. The Children of the Forest are tricksy and false. And JC, sorry, Razagul, Rhaegar, Razagul, or Raz, whichever of the three that you fucking want to say.
We have her. She was in the chat for a little while, and I do see top shelf fandoms in the chat right now. I will make it. Me and Gray. I don't know if I talk. Me and Gray area. I was talking to her today, and we came up with an idea. So we know that Gray Area, she does a podcast. I think it's every Friday night. It's called Die Wolf City Podcast that she does. Not this week and next week. We don't know exactly the week, but we're gonna do a double podcast. All the girls from the Die Wolf City are gonna come on our podcast on Monday, and we're gonna do a topic. And then all of us dudes, we're gonna go over to their podcast that same week on Friday, and we're gonna do our podcast, and we're gonna work with them over there. So we're gonna be doing a double stream that same week. We'll see us both on everyone's channel and stuff like that. So if you haven't seen it, we're doing a crossover. So we have the chipmunks right here and the female chipmunks over there, and we're gonna go over there and we're gonna hang out with them and stuff like that. So we're doing that. That's a done deal. Me and Gray already talked about that today. And we'll figure out topic and all that, and we'll keep you updated on all that.
Wait, I thought we're the unusual suspects. Now we're the chipmunks.
No, well, I'm just we're not unusual. We're just as usual.
Unusual works too, though. But
unusual does work, but I don't want to be unusual.
It better describes Bridge and I. It's like,
all right, we'll go with you. What's the next prophecy going on?
Yeah, that's what I was going back to. I can't find it.
The next one is a girl. I forgot that was only the first one. A girl and a younger boy play fighting with branches. Bran remarks that at first he thinks it might be himself, but he realizes that it's Lyanna and Ned or Lyanna and Benjen playing.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. So I think we can move on to the next.
Yeah, he thinks there's a line where he goes, "I never grew my hair out that long," I believe is what he says. A pregnant woman coming out of a black pool praying for a son to avenge her.
All right, this is a tricky one. I know I got one for this. Bridge, you got one for this?
I don't know about this.
Yeah, it's I would say old Nan.
Old Nan coming out of the black pool, praying for someone to avenge her. Yeah,
because she lost all of her sons with I forget the name. There were a bunch of wars with the Iron Islands. There were a bunch of wars. Basically, she lost all of her sons fighting.
I'm going to say that I'm going to go on a limb with this one and make up a crazy prophecy that I think I think it means the birth of Jon Snow. That's what I think it represents. Now, I'm not saying exactly who it is, but I think it symbolizes the birth of Jon Snow. That's my take on this prophecy, my theory. That's Jon. So I'll explain to you why I think it. So it says there's a pregnant woman, right? So the pregnant woman, to me, that represents Lyanna being born with Jon in black water, right? So I think the black is him taking the black, and in this water is Lyanna having the bloody bed, avenging, and the vengeance is for Rhaegar dying and everything else. That is my theory on what it means. Who it is actually is a different situation, but that's what I agree. I think it's foreshadowing the birth of Jon Snow.
Here's the thing, though. I'm going to skip ahead before, and we can come back to these things. But at some point in the vision, Bran stops and he notices that the weirwood tree is getting smaller and smaller. Mm-hmm. So I think it's supposed to tell us that the visions are getting progressively older and older. So if the second vision, so if the second vision was a Lyanna Stark fighting with a little brother Benjen, how could the third one be about Jon Snow?
I'm saying that it's not. It's just about Jon Snow. Like it's not Jon Snow, but it's foreshadowing the coming of Jon Snow. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's where I look at it. I don't look at it as this being physically anything to do with Jon Snow, but it's just foreshadowing everything that's going on.
A couple people in the chat agree. Well, and I see what you're saying about the foreshadowing, but I think some people do think that it was a pregnant woman is showing that maybe old Nan had sex with Dunk. And,
this would be the problem with the old Nan one. To me, would be, is she gonna have two visions, because I think the next one is Old Nan, right?
Oh yeah, the next one is a slender girl on her toes kissing a knight as tall as Hodor.
So if that's Old Nan kissing Dunk, would they do a double Old Nan prophecy back to back?
Probably not.
So one is, I think they would, because it's sort of alluding to George R. R. Martin has the they call them the Tales of Dunk and Egg, or the A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. The Dunk and Egg are now on their way north. They've been talking about the strategy about the people in the Iron Islands, but they're going up to Winterfell. I think one of the stories that George R. R. Martin was going to write was going to be called The She-Wolves of Winterfell. Yes. I think Old Nan's one of those pissed off she-wolves of Winterfell. So to me, it's since we're going back in time, the fact it would be useful to show Old Nan twice, because once would be Old Nan when she's older and mourning the losses of her children, and then in that next one would be young hot Old Nan up on her tippy toes kissing a Dunk.
So this is a pregnant. So the other one, the woman was pregnant. So Old Nan can't be that old where she's not pregnant. So it's a pregnant slender woman, right?
Okay,
so
fair enough. You're right.
She's still in her prime and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it would be a double Old Nan. So that's the only reason why I would think that's not that Old Nan in that situation, because it's a slender pregnant woman mourning the loss of her sons. So I don't know if we double. I think the next one, without a shadow of a doubt, is Old Nan kissing Hodor, and because I do believe Hodor and them definitely will make it up there. And I mean, there's no other night that could be that. I think that would have to be, because I think that's how Hodor has to get tall somehow. Has to get some of that.
It's either that or one snuck down one night through the Winterfell gate.
You think Old Nan could take what one's got to offer?
I think so. I think Old Nan could. What we know of Old Nan, she would make 1 per. I think.
Yeah, listen, that's a lot. He's got a lot to offer. I don't know if Old Nan can hold that down.
So we already did talk about the next one. Slender girl on her toes kissing a knight as tall as Hodor. I think most people either believe it or want to believe that's old. Dunk somehow saved Old Nan in the next. And I heard Bridge talk about this, I believe, in one of his videos. That's kissing Old Nan after Old Nan being saved, and the novella yet to come. That's possibly going to be in the next story.
Yeah,
I believe
it should have been. He was going to do the She-Wolves of Winterfell first. That was supposed to come out, and then he didn't do it. He did the Fire and Blood, right? Instead.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I mean that's the way he did it.
These last three are the ones I'm a little bit. You guys will have to help me with. A pale, dark-eyed youth cutting 3 branches from a weirwood and shaping them into arrows.
This goes back to the Northern King who knelt, Torrhen Stark. So he had a bastard brother named, I think it was Brandon Snow. I'm pretty sure it was Brandon Snow. That when they came over, Torrhen ended up kneeling, but Brandon Snow had carved 3 arrows from a weirwood. He was going to try to take out Aegon, Visenya, and Rhaenys. I always claim Rhaenys to be my number one girl in the story. I almost forgot her name. He was going to take out their dragons, Balerion, Rhaegar, and Meraxes. Right, and then his brother Torrhen Stark was like, no, well, I'm just going to bend the knee. That's it. So I think that's what. So basically, this vision's now going 300 years ago. So we just went from 100 years ago to 300 years ago.
I 100% agree. That's what that is. I agree that's it. And I also think that it's trying to show you that the power of a weirwood arrow, a weirwood arrow, for some reason, if it's made out of weirwood, it has the ability to take out a dragon. A dragon can die from a weirwood arrow. And I think that's got to happen. They're not just saying that and showing you that for no reason. That's showing that this is the way you can kill a dragon is with a weirwood arrow.
Maybe the Night King had it on his javelin in the show.
It could be. It could be. So I think that when it comes down to it, I think that when it comes that's Euron's dragon that will get taken down by a weirwood arrow when it's all said and done. I think that's how Euron's dragon dies. There's no reason for them to show that and tell you that that's what's going to happen if they don't pay it off. So I think that's what that one is sharing. And talk a little bit more about Euron until Bridget gets back. We'll keep it on that topic and everything else. If people say, no, we'll do a whole podcast on Euron. We'll talk about Euron in depth and everything else. But I do believe that Euron will seize control of the dragon. He has to. I think
he's at least going to try. I mean, it would make a lot more sense in the way that they've built him up in the story for him to do something like that, and for Dany to lose one of her dragons that way.
You're not a threat if you don't do it. He's no threat unless he's able to do something like that. So,
and he's seemingly, he's been introduced into the story, unless he's a complete red herring, which we have to say, but he's been introduced into the story in a way to seem, in my memory, because it's been a while since I really went through all the Euron and the Greyjoy stuff, that as a threat, as a legitimate threat to everybody and everything in everywhere. He's which I guess could make it even more fun if he ends up just being a red herring and he just dies a really easy death or something. That's George being really again, George being slightly a troll, building something up and then having the character.
Well, he likes Euron. He likes him. I think you can tell by the way he writes him. He likes him.
And the way he read that chapter of his, the Winter Euron stuff. Like,
there's a reason why he picked that chapter. When you're and I'm not considering myself a writer like as much as I'm a writer, but I'm not on a level of George. And of course, obviously not. But when people ask me, like they say, "Hey, can you send me a chapter?" And I don't send a lot of chapters out to people. That's just not what I do. But there's certain people who I have sent chapters. And they say, "Hey, can you send a chapter out so I could read and see how?" I always send a chapter that I like the most. Like I go through the chapter and say, "Yeah, I think this is a good chapter." So the fact that he picked to read that chapter, that means he really liked that chapter. That's why he read that chapter. So he likes Euron. Yeah, that's his guy and everything else. So that's why you do those situations and stuff. That's just the way it goes. He enjoys the Euron chapters, and that's why he read it. And it's a good read. It's one of the best chapters. I think it's one of the best chapters you ever written in the whole series.
Were you saying The Forsaken?
Yeah, The Forsaken.
And JC, people in the chat agreeing with you. JC says Forsaken chapter best ever. AK says D&D messed up Euron so bad that George R. R. Martin felt the need to release the Forsaken chapter. And most people in the chat are saying they agree with you. We have two more little parts of the vision. Other lords of Winterfell, tall, hard, stern men in fur and chainmail. And that one's pretty vague enough if we're just dating back in time. That's just another vision of
it's just him going back for
early House Stark. And then the last one is a bearded man forcing a captive down on his knees and a white-haired woman killing the captive with a bronze sickle.
Yeah, to me, that those two, when I first started really diving into this, I spent so much time trying to figure out who these people in these visions were, right? And eventually I just came down to the fact that, how we went through all these visions, the ones that I think are you got the Benjen one, then you have whatever, you go down them, it's getting progressively older and older. You got the two that I think are old now, but regardless, then you get to the one with the three weirwood branches, the three weirwood arrows. That's when George R. R. Martin says that the tree itself was shrinking. So at that point, we have all these very specific visions, which we can tie to people, or we can make pretty good guesses as to what they are. Then he points out the fact that, yes, it's been getting older and older and older, in case we haven't already gotten the point. And then we get these last two. I don't think these last two necessarily relate to anything. I think for me, they just relate to concepts. That's all I've been able to come up with. For a while, I thought it had something to do with maybe the Night King. Was the Night King related to this very last vision? But no, I think it ultimately just comes down to the fact that Bran is going to be in the future, not in this chapter, but in the Winds of Winter, Bran 1, if he ever even gets a chapter again, he's going to be learning more about old stuff. Old stuff's very important. And on top of that, the Starks of old, they did blood sacrifices. They may not be as good as we think they are. I think that was the major lesson I took away from it.
Yeah, I think with it's the same thing. Like I said, like when you see the foreshadowing of Jon Snow. When I said that this is just meant to show you that Bran can taste things and can affect the past, because he tastes the blood from all the way back then. Bloodraven lied to him because he's a liar. And he told him, because Old Dan says old crows are liars. Bloodraven's a crow. She says that. That's what he's a liar. And he doesn't understand what Old Dan's trying to tell him. But, he says you can't do things, and you can, because he's tasting the blood. He tastes the blood from hundreds of years ago. He could still taste the blood. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it's trying to say, that Bran has the ability at this time to affect the past. That, though Bloodraven says you can't, you can affect the past, and that's it. As we've seen with Ned Stark, when he goes back and the wind blows and everything else, Ned turns his head. you know, and that's the reason they even showed it in the show, him turn his head to show that he could affect the past. You have to set that up to get to the Hodor situation.
Yep.
Right. So if he can't affect the past, you can't make Hodor, but he does. So you have to set that up that he can affect the past, and that's what he's doing from back then to set up the whole Hodor situation.
No, absolutely. And I think they do that a lot in situations like they show you Beric to set up Catelyn. And I mean, I know we were talking about that last time about not associations with the same kind of resurrections. I just mean showing you that resurrections are possible in the world before you bring back you set up a situations where Cat and Jon, two more main characters, you see it at least once before in someone like Beric.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. It's saying 50% of people hit the like button. We only had 50 likes in there.
Yeah, at least the other 50 people, like for the about 120 people watching, at least the other half hit that thumbs down. It's just to show you're watching, engage in something, you know.
Jeez, I mean, that's not good numbers. I mean, I'm not asking you to do nothing for that's going to cost you any money here. Something coming out of pocket. Let's ask you to show a little bit of appreciation. You know, just to hit the like button. Can we get to 100 likes on this stream if we have over 100 people? I mean, geez, 50 people out of the 100. I mean, that's terrible.
Speaking of terrible, Nadia says, sometimes I feel like I'll be 97 watching Teflon TV talking about Winds of Winter coming soon. I think that's part of the reason why Tony wanted to do this and bring Bridge and I in, is to kind of get the excitement build up and start talking about this like it's coming and manifest this shit. We're by doing this every week, we're manifesting this book to come out sooner than later. We may run out of characters before it comes out, but we're talking about it, damn it.
That's all we got, right? We can't trust George right now. Listen, George is. This is what happens. I think when you're a writer and you write certain things, George seen how people reacted to the end of Game of Thrones, and I don't think that people liked a lot of it. And listen, people are human beings. You know, you want people to like what you're writing and everything else. So if this is what he had planned, he may change his plan. He may say that oh, I wouldn't do that. Listen, people change stuff. I have an outfit that I like a lot and I like to wear it, and then I get every chick that I meet says that shit looks ugly on you, don't look good. Eventually, I'm not gonna wear. I mean, could you say, you know what, I'm gonna wear this ugly outfit out there and I don't care what anyone thinks? No. Yeah, some people will do that. The majority of people are going to change their clothes. And that's just the bottom line.
And awesome. Actually, that last shout out worked. We're up over 100 likes now. Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Put up to Khaleesi Clues in the building. She has a great channel. I love Khaleesi Clues.
And she says some people watch the videos, but they aren't always signed in. But thank you everyone for catching up on that. And a couple people or the I don't want to set it up as a question, but my wonder now is what comes out first. Are we doing a review of the first chapter of Winds of Winter together first, or are we doing a review of the first episode of House of Dragons first?
Oh, good question.
What are you thinking, Bridge?
Oh, I'm just going to say the Winds of Winter because I'm an optimist.
I hope the Winds of Winter. I think the Winds of Winter is done. I've said it before, and I'll say it. I think it's done. I think he's done with it. So I think we'll get that first.
Yeah, I'll be the pessimist here since you two are going in the good direction. We'll be connected on a Wednesday night talking about episode 1 of House of Dragon before and Winds of Winter will come out shortly after that.
All right, so next thing, Lee, I guess that's what we lead off on Bran for book stuff. So we have to go off the page a little bit and use the show. All right, so
there's nothing more. That's why I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. That's why it leaves so much room for interpretation to Bran's story, because we had X amount of seasons of the show away from Bran's book story. Even more, it feels like it's more separated than some of the other characters.
Yeah, I would say leave it in the books. Leave it, and we see Bran. When that happens, we see Bran come back to Winterfell. We see Bran expose Jon's identity, and we see Bran make himself bait for the Night King.
Yeah,
all those things happening,
and find out Coldhands is Benjen. If we say that's Coldhands on the show,
no, Coldhands isn't Benjen. He said that specifically.
Right, not in the book. Okay, but we see bumps into Benjen too. Benjen helps him out on the way out of there. Not Coldhands helps him out on the way out of there.
So what do we think about that situation?
I think one of the main takeaways is that so the books in the show, like the show had the idea of doing this story, this prequel story, Blood Moon. I won't get into the details of it, but as I alluded to, if you watched the last stream we did last Wednesday, I think the final scene of the intended Blood Moon prequel was going to be the creation of the Night King. But effectively, the show sort of had to the show potentially held information back that we're going to get in The Winds of Winter and A Dream for Spring, simply because they wanted to reveal it in a different way. Instead of revealing it in the current storyline, they wanted to reveal it in a prequel. So I think of some stuff like who the Night King is, if there is one, who the Night King is and the Night King's backstory. I think that's stuff that we will learn through Bran in the books that they weren't ever going to show us in this version of the show.
Oh, we are joined by the one and only Gray Aries.
Oh, great. Thank you for popping on in.
Right, we appreciate Gray and appreciate all she does for us, and everything else. And we'll leave a comment up there for a little while and stuff. So, all right, so dealing with Bran with the Night King. I mean, I kind of agree that because that's the way it's going to go. I still think that Baby Sam is the Night King. Going with that, well, not Baby Sam, but Baby Sam,
Baby Craster.
Baby Sam is it? Baby Craster is a Night King, and that's the way I see it. You know, they took that whole storyline out because they didn't do the double baby swap, so you didn't have the chance to see that and everything else. I think they probably thought that would be too complicated. They didn't even do Mance's wife in there or anything like that, you know. So I think that's the reason why, because they just wanted out when that was all going down and stuff like that. So
I mean, Bran has to get back somehow. Somehow, if we're gonna say that at some point in time in the books, he does. Do we think it goes down in that way that somehow the Whites Bran is okay in the show? So let's go. We don't have the book anymore. So let's I guess attempt to go off the show here a little bit.
Yeah,
might not have anything to do with it. He's in one of his dreams learning about stuff, Bloodraven or the children or the whatever. Forget all the theories, but Bloodraven is teaching him about doing his Obi-Wan Kenobi shit with him, and within that he goes in on his own, bumps into the Night King who touches him and marks him, which allows him to enter the cave. Does something like that happen to the point where Bran has to escape, or does he escape for different reasons to the point, like you say, Bloodraven dies because he transfers his consciousness into Bran and then they leave on their own? And then they head to Winterfell. Do they just hike there? Does someone help them to get them there? That's a long way to go back.
I mean, he listen, they got Warg in the building. He could get a bobsled team easy.
He could get the Jamaican bobsled team over there.
He could get a bobsled team pretty easy.
Cool Runnings could get up there and just sled the way back.
He could definitely do it. I mean, that would be the only way that I see them getting back there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how are they getting back?
They would have to do a bobsled team. There's no other way. Listen, Mira's not pulling his ass all the way back.
Yeah, and Hodor's gonna die. And Hodor, theoretically, we all think is gonna die there. So how are Mira and does that when Benjen shows up again? Do we see not Coldhands, the actual Benjen, show up as a Coldhands like creature to help him?
Benjen.
I know George R. Martin has said that Benjen is not Coldhands. I don't buy it. I think 100% Coldhands is. I think Coldhands is Benjen Stark. 100%.
It makes sense for it to be him, but it was the editor that asked the question, and I don't know. I don't think he thought, like, if he made that public.
I see what you're saying.
But the fact that it was between him and the editor, I think he's going to tell the editor.
So how did it go down? The editor asked him, and then George R. Martin responded by writing no.
Yes,
right?
he responded by writing no.
But it's one of those things. I still don't buy it because it's like, did they do that intentionally and then leak it? Because it's one of those things. It's like, to me, I don't think Bran Stark was like taken over by the Bloodraven or by the Three-Eyed Crow. But if you were to say, like, did Bran die in that cave? It's like, for all intents and purposes, Bran died in that cave, or Sansa died in King's Landing. You know, a new Sansa was reborn. Like, George, I think George R. R. Martin plays with words. I don't buy it. I think Benjen is Coldhands.
All right, so I agree with you on it. Does make sense for him to be Coldhands, but I don't think that it means the same thing that Sansa died at King's Land, that Bran died in that cave. I think that's two different things. Okay. I understand what you're saying, And you could say that I think Sansa is who she always was. It just got it just got pushed out of her. You know what I mean? Because when push came to shove, and that's what it is. You know, you can only live in a fairy tale so long.
Wex says it in an interesting way. Coldhands isn't Benjen anymore.
That's what I was getting at. It's like he's not the same person, but effectively is the same person.
You know, he's definitely a Night's Watchman. We know that for a fact. You know what I mean? That's a done deal. But you know,
Bran did meet. Someone asked if Bran ever met Benjen. Yeah, he met Bran. He might have been very young in the books time, but I believe Benjen did visit at times, and he met Benjen.
Benjen visited a lot. Yeah.
James Elliott super chat. Thank you for the super chat. James Elliott says Baby Sam survived more situations than anyone. Listen, Baby Sam is the Night King. That's it. I take it to the bank. I'm not just saying this to you just to say it. I'm saying it to you because the fact. You gotta look at what as it went down. Johns thought he was so sneaky. They came after that baby. They chased Sam for that baby. They wanted the baby. They even say it in the show. He's after the baby. They want that specific baby. There's babies all over the place. There's a million babies. They can grab any baby they want, but they wanted that specific baby.
That's their baby.
They came for that baby. They wanted that baby, right? So
I don't know why it's cracking me up every time you say the word baby. Right
yo, Jon Snow, I'm gonna be smart. I'm gonna outthink Melisandre. He's gonna try to burn Mance's baby. So I'm gonna make Gilly take Mance's baby, and I'm gonna leave Baby Sam because he's no threat. No one's gonna want nothing to do with that baby, and that is Jon's big fuck up because they're coming for that baby because that baby's a Night King. That's the reason why. That's
a blue baby. Dragon. Oh my god.
What is Beat from Bernie saying right here?
That's what I was reading. Wait, I thought Bran was the Night King though.
No one said that. Who said that? I didn't say Bran was the Night King. I never said Bran was the Night King. That's not my theory. So I don't think he's the Night King.
That was a theory just going around for years.
I never said Bran.
I never said it. Yeah.
If you could look at my videos, I got like 4 videos saying that Bran is
so quickly.
Yeah, but that was one of those theories that no matter that it's like it was on every single website.
It was everywhere.
It just never made any sense to me. Like I'm not saying that I didn't even understand it. So I'm not saying that if you put it out there, you're an idiot because I just didn't understand it. It never resonated with me at all.
I could think that. I could see why people would want to think it. I could definitely see why that would have to think.
Bernie says she's going to go back and get the receipts.
You know what I mean? You can go get the receipts all you want. You know what I mean? But Bran is. I'll give you the receipts for the monster. I'll play that video right now. The White Walker's monster video. In fact, it's in. That video was like, I liked that video so much when I came up with that theory. I did that first video. I think I did that with Don Willie and Don the Kraken Wit. I think I did that. I did it with them back in the day. That shows you exactly how long ago I came up with that theory and everything else. But it was all the way back then and stuff like that. So you go check it out. Don Willie's in the video and Don the Kraken Wit is in the video, both the videos and stuff.
Jackie has a follow-up question. So a baby will lead the White Army? Question mark.
No, listen, no baby.
I want to go back to this.
Baby. I mean,
I don't understand the growth of it. I asked you this last time, but so we've got he's a baby now. Are you saying that he because you do expect him to be in like a sword fight? So
yeah. So when we seen that baby get turned in the show,
okay,
do you think that baby just stayed a baby?
Oh, I see what you're saying. He hasn't been converted into the Night King yet. He will be.
Yet.
And at that point, he'll grow into.
Again, it's like
all of his kids are the White Walkers. All the Craster's kids are the White Walkers.
Yeah,
right? That's who they are. They're the Craster's kids. When they touched that baby in that show, do you think that baby stayed that baby? That baby didn't say that all old men. Somehow they age super fast. That's just what it is. So that's the way it's going to be. When they touch that baby's going to age up and it's going to become the Night King. And that's just what it's going to be.
Phil,
because Craster is a Targaryen, and I'm not gonna. Craster, you gotta go to the whole theory. I mean, Craster's a Targaryen and everything else. Craster, his dad. It's a good possibility his dad is Bloodraven. Good chance that his dad is Bloodraven. Go read this. Go watch that video, and you'll understand. I'm not gonna go through that whole thing. It's a Bran video. I'm not gonna go through all that stuff and everything else. But that damn baby I'm trying to tell you, is a Night King.
So I think that you just have to word it differently because it's so that people better understand what you're saying. You say he will be the Night King because people are confused. Like he is the Night King. What do you mean he is the Night King?
He will get. I thought that's pretty obvious. But
no, I never got what you were saying. To be honest, I thought you thought already he was like a monster.
That baby.
Yeah,
Francis' son will be the Night King when it's all said and done. He will get changed to the Night King.
It's like
I take things too literally. I'm sure most people understood you.
no, maybe they did. Maybe I speak wrong, and maybe people don't get it. So that's good.
Now I totally get it. I got it.
Mindy said we got to get that baby T-shirts. As Bernie was the way Bernie wrote it.
That damn. All right, let's do that baby T-shirt. Let's put that in.
Okay, so getting back to the problem at hand, we don't have to dwell too much on it, but somehow, some way, whether it be the Jamaican bobsled team from Cool Runnings or something, or the Eagles from the Lord of the Rings, Bran and Mira need to get back to Winterfell, Greywater, whatever. Like they need to get from the cave back down somehow, right? We agree that they do get back to Westeros essentially somehow.
Yes, they will make it. They will make it through the wall and make it down somehow. And the bobsled team is how it's going down. That's the way it's going to be. Guaranteed, it's going to be the bobsled.
Summer pulling the Jamaican bobsled team.
Now listen, will Summer survive? Is another question. We see Summer die.
Yeah, in
the cave. What do you think about that? Will Summer pass away, Bridge? What's going on?
That's a good question. Symbolically, I could see it. Because there's that whole when the dire wolves die, that the people die type thing. Like Sansa, people thought Sansa was going to die because her dire wolf died, or whatever. To me, Sansa, the figurative, the girl who dreamed of the knights and stuff, she died down at King's Landing. Then you have actually the ghost dying ties into this whole concept because you think ghosts will die when Jon has his sort of rebirth. Yeah. But anyway, so technically, I guess. If you were to have me bet, I'd now unfortunately say that Summer's going to die in this incident, but I don't want to believe in it. So I'm just going to say no. I'm going to say Summer helps pull them on their little bobsled. But yeah, he probably will die. Oh, I don't like that.
I would like him to be part of the bobsled team. Summer.
Yeah.
What do you think, Phil? Summer going to make it? Is Summer going to die?
I don't like that.
Push it, poet. Push it time. Push it now. It's bobsled time.
What do you think, Phil? Is Summer making it? Summer's gonna die.
I think unfortunately this is what it comes down to in the theme of the night. And we've depressed Bridge and he's gone off because it is a sad story for Bran here. And I think it does make a lot of sense symbolically if Bran is to leave that cave as the three-eyed crow and becoming a different entity, even if a percentage of Bran exists still within there. That part of him that is truly a Stark that's connected to his dire wolf, he moves beyond needing Summer, and Summer could die in a defense moment similar to what Hodor dies in, like protecting him, giving them some more time. And unfortunately, as much as I don't want to say it, as basically a fodder, as holding the door, assisting Hodor in whatever the hold the door situation, and being controlled by Bran or even Summer on his own, giving its life for Bran. So I think it's probably going to be something like that. Something very.
Summer's going to die. So it comes down to when does Summer die and how does Summer die. So Summer dies, but I think not the way that they showed it in the show. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be getting
wrapped up in the wind or something.
It won't be that. So what's going to happen is that this is how it's going to go. Eventually, they're going to make it back to Winterfell, and they're going to have a battle with the White Walkers. What they didn't put in the show was the super pack, right? We're gonna have super pack of all these wolves and everything helping defeat them. I think Summer dies with the super pack. When the super pack is, I think that's when it goes.
Jackie C in the live chat also said Summer would join the wolf pack, and Jackie C's had a couple of great comments tonight as well. I just want to point out Jackie C, but Summer will join the wolf pack.
Yeah, Summer make it back through the wolf pack, and she's gonna die then. That would be it. Jenna S super chat. It's back in the building, rocking with us.
She says, I'm back. What do we think of the others having Benjen bargain sacrifice? We mentioned Benjen a little bit. Briefly, just to say, do you guys think we'll see Benjen again in the story somewhere?
He's in the haunted. I thought he was in the haunted forest. That's where I thought he was. I thought Benjen was in the haunted forest anywhere.
So who remember when when Ghost first found the cache of dragonglass daggers and whatnot at the foot of foot of the Fist of the First Men, like that was probably Benjen, right? That left that stuff there for them. Or do you think that was?
It could have been left earlier, a long time ago. I don't know, but I will say that. Listen, that just shows you how pieces of shit the Children of the Forest are too, right? So what was their idea to every year we're going to give you 3 dragonglass daggers to protect yourself? I mean, they gave like 2 a year.
Yeah, it was something like that.
It was some stupid little number. It wasn't like they were giving them like 1,000. Every year we're gonna give you 2 dragonglass daggers.
Yeah, they're feeding little orphan Annie or Oliver. They're like, can I have more? Can I have some more dragon daggers?
No, you only get 2.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Because they have to have magic. And then they lie to them. Oh, why is the ones the children are giving you? Why are they special? They're not. You can just go get your own dragonglass and make it into a dagger. But the children convinced them that somehow these ones had some magic in it, and you had to kill them with these ones. And no, they were just 3. Here's 3 for the year.
Make them laugh.
It shows you how much propaganda. It's all a lot. You didn't have. There's no magic in them damn daggers. It's like there's no magic in that goddamn wall. And that's just the bottom line. It's nothing.
Now give a dagger to your brother. Now, Joan Evans says, just want to thank you guys for all the content and humor. This means a lot to someone awaiting back surgery. Thank you so much.
Joan, what a beautiful comment. I hope you get through your back surgery nice. I hope you're able to continue. Thank you so much for taking time out of your life to watch us, and we truly appreciate it. All we could do is just sit here and hope that we are able to entertain you and the masses from some bit of time. If this little bit of time we have here takes your mind off of what's going on with you, then we have done our job.
Yeah, no, we're glad to give you a slight distraction from dealing with back shit is horrible, and so hope it all goes smoothly for you. Glad to give you a half a smile, just distraction for a moment.
Bernie said the children out here hustling. They are hustling. They're straight hustlers. We're gonna give you these special daggers in case the White Walkers come back. Yeah, here's 3.
Here's 3. You'll be fine.
So it was 100, but that's still not that many.
No, the first 3 are free. Then they have to pay. We'll give you 3. Then now you have to pay.
They hustling up. They
so
like
funny.
crackers. Like, here's 2 for 5. 2 for 5. 2 for 5. What you want?
Yeah, 3 for 20. 3 SP growth. 3 for 20. 3 for 20. I get him over here. 3 for 20. 3 for 20.
They try to gas you like these are some special magical daggers. There's nothing. Jon Snow goes to the island with Daenerys and just grabs it and then just shapes it to what he wants to shape it. Why did you need the children to begin with? They're just trying to seem like that you need them, and you don't. And that's just the bottom line.
This actually, real quick. So the conversation where we learned that line about the 100 dragonglass daggers, that's actually a really good. That's one of the last conversations that Jon has with Samwell Tarly. I wonder if it happens in both books. Maybe not. But anyway, it's one of their last conversations because Jon's like, what did you find? What did you find? Sam goes through this whole thing, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of it, Jon had the line, did you find out who they are, what they want, where they come from, and what they want? That line always jumped out at me because that's why I was like, in the show, we are going to find out who they are because of this line here in the books. And then, of course, we didn't. Granted, I still say that they were saving that for the prequel, but that's a really good one. That's a really good paragraph. Jon is all pissed off. Sam kept saying all this stuff, and he's like, "You know what that means?" And Jon's like, "It means it's very old." But Sam, tell me something useful. We know the dragonglass daggers kill him. That was
they do nothing, and it's like listen, fuck the children. They don't do anything. For everybody. So Bran, we do agree that Bran. If you want to see Bran, whatever the body of Bran is going to make it back.
It needs to. And I guess one thing we didn't talk about before we get to the big question is in Winds of Winter, Will Bran and you guys will have, because you guys know book stuff way more than I. Isn't there something where Bran's talking to Theon, or someone might be talking to Theon that might be Bran, and Bran's talking to someone on the island of Faith, like with his gods everywhere.
I think you're bringing up 2 situations.
Two random situations.
Yeah, 2 things. Remember, the first situation is when the fake Arya gets married. Theon sees Bran's face in the weirwood tree.
Right. Okay, that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So he sees him there. And then the second time is when Theon's supposed. See, this is why Theon's getting killed. You see, it's twice they've done it to Theon.
Yeah.
Twice Bran with the Theon. The second time is in the Stand and Sample chapter when he's in the birds with Bloodraven, because it's two birds that both there together. And then Yarsha is telling her straight up that hey, chop his head off in front of the weirwood tree, and then the birds start going crazy saying tree. So listen, Bran wants Theon dead for some reason. He keeps coming to him for a reason. He wants him dead. It's not the Theon that we see in the books, and he looks at him and says, Theon, you're a good man. And then Theon goes off and does a spear charge, which he's never fought with a spear that we've ever seen, but for some reason he thinks somehow he's part of the Unsullied. Maybe, listen, we don't know. Maybe he was hanging with Grey Worm. Maybe he figured, hey, I could learn what you guys did in a day.
Maybe he lost his bow and arrow. Maybe he lost his bow and arrow or something.
Yeah, maybe something like that happened. That's why he does. And Theon's hair is bouncing in slow motion like he's got the Perk Plus commercial. Right, he's over here dancing and stuff, but he's got the bounce and stuff.
He had pants. He had some
situation. Right to the Night King. Night King just grabs, sidesteps the arrow. It's so stupid. Sidesteps and chops and throws it right in your gut. Right, so
by little Theon. So you think Bran does influence Theon's death in the book?
Yeah. Go ahead, Bridge.
So I have my rosier interpretation of it is that Theon has been going through this character arc where he has been scared to even remember who he is. So he's been trying to find out. His final chapter in A Dance of Dragons was titled Theon Again. And then he has Theon Again in The Winds of Winter. My rosier interpretation is that Bran is helping Theon remember his name. However, to play devil's advocate, especially in the Winds of Winter chapter, it's pretty suspect at the point in which they because they're talking about sacrifice, and then the birds are like, tree or Theon. But personally, I do think that I kind of like to think that Bran is just trying to help Theon remember his name because he's got a role to play in the wars to come.
Yeah.
What role? What role does he have to play?
He's one of his brothers. I mean, they grew up together.
Wait.
I think that if his role to play is the sacrifice, they need that Theon blood for some reason. Something about that blood is going to help them. You know what I mean? And that's his role to play. Bran is the last greenseer, and the whole situation is that they're just trying to get that blood of Theon in them roots to get more strength. I think that's the reason why Bloodraven shriveled away. And the last screenseer needed Bran as a vessel because there's no more sacrifices being done to the weirwood trees. So that's how he losing his power. That's why. But I think if there was sacrifices going on, he would have been able to stay in that built body forever. But he was forced to do what he had to do because he had to keep himself alive and do all that.
So I guess the last thing that is, so Bran gets back there to Winterfell. Is he a part of the final battle with the Night King? And
the bait situation, I thought were
right. Is he bait? Is he bait to kill the big in the final battle at all? No.
What do you think, Bridge?
I mean, it's for me. That's not even happening in the Winds of Winter. That's more of Actually, no. I take that back. The Winds of Winter could end the Night King, and then they could resolve everything else, King's Landing, whatnot, in A Dream for Spring. Okay, wow. So I haven't really actually thought this far in my head, but this isn't that far. This is going to be coming out this winter, this Christmas. We're going to be getting the Winds of Winter. I think it actually is a lovely. I don't necessarily think it has to happen at that place at the weirwood tree. Like when the show started doing it, I'm like, oh, they're just using a set piece that they've used before, blah, blah, blah. But if I was going to go with my subconscious, I'd say it all is going to take place there. Because, you know what? I'll even go back to Phil. You mentioned the short story that George R. R. Martin wrote called The Ice Dragon. You mentioned that last week. You're mute. I'm mute? I'm mute?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Phil, you were making noises like this. So, George R. R. Martin originally said that was part of the canon, the Ice Dragon. Then subsequently he came out in some interview or something like that and said it's not part of the canon. Personally, I think he's lying. I think that's part of the canon. I think that the weirwood pool there at Winterfell is Oh, I'm going to spoil the ice dragon. Sorry, it's like a kid story. I think that. Oh, let's just say that something happens in the ice dragon. I think that pool of water is the is. Okay, I quit. I don't know how to say it without spoiling the ice dragon.
So I know exactly what you're trying to say. So there's the pool of water in Winterfell that always stays the same temperature. It's always cold no matter what, and that pool of water is the melted ice dragon that goes away.
Yeah,
that's a great.
So I think that is. So I think that is a very key spot, like the weirwood tree and whatnot. And the story essentially effectively begins there. It's like the very first chapter, aside from the prologue, like Bran 1. It's Ned Stark, and then he washed. Oh no, I guess it's Ned Stark's like the second chapter. But he goes there and he's washing off his sword. It might be a Catelyn chapter, but it's like that pool in the weirwood tree. It does take a central point of the northern storyline. So why not? Let's kill the Night King there.
I just don't think it's going to be Bran sitting as bait. And it's so if you come down to it's not number one, it's not Bran. All right, it's the greenseer. To me, it's the last greenseer. Now, if the last greenseer is the last children of the forest, the White Walkers create them, it would make more sense for them wanting to kill their creator. Make more sense for them to want to kill this guy and wipe their whole race off the earth. All right. But we still gotta think. I still think that there's some children of the forest on the Isle of Faces. I don't think they're wiped out. Yeah, I don't think though. I think there's still them, the green men. I think the children of the forest are hiding on that island. I just think that they're there. I don't think they're all wiped out. So I just can't believe they would all be wiped out. I think there's some form of them still there.
Could I actually, but just real quick, I totally take back what I was saying. I think it ends in the crypts of Winterfell because it goes back to my old theory. I think the Night King is Bael the Bard's child, the bastard child born in the crypts of Winterfell. So yeah, I think it's going to end in the crypts of Winterfell.
Boom. That's how you think. That's how you think the battle with the White Walker goes.
Yeah,
I think it happens like this. So this is my theory. So I think that they'll have the battle. I don't think that they'll be bait. I think what's going to happen is that I think that they lose. I think the Night King and them win the Winterfell battle. I don't think they beat him the first time they fight him like they did in the show. I think they were just rushing it. They didn't want to do anything else. So, because if they just beat them the first battle out, then what kind of threat were they really? In the show, the mountain was a bigger threat than the Night King. He put up a bigger fight than the Night King put up. Right? So you can't have that. These are the supernatural. So I think, this is what I think. I think they're going to lose the battle in Winterfell. They're going to escape through the crypts. They're going to have to fight all the Stark army while they fight people being resurrected. And they're going to have to escape through the crypts in Winterfell. Everyone who escapes. I think it's going to be the direwolves that give them the time to hold off everybody, the super pack, to give them the time to escape. And I think it has to end. I would like to think that they make it to King's Landing. But I think it's got to be somewhere around the neck. I would like to see them around the neck. And then they would break the neck, and then it would become the broken neck to prevent the White Walkers from going to the lower half.
Ooh.
They break the neck, then it becomes the broken neck, and then the last stand goes from over there, from around that area and stuff. I think that would make more sense to me for it to go down that way. Or if the last place I would have to see, you would like to think that somehow.
A couple people in the chat are saying Harrenhal possibly.
We're at Harrenhal.
Yeah,
they go all the way down to Harrenhal and fight down there.
Yeah,
they would have to pass.
We're talking about hundreds of miles, though. How did they get hundreds and hundreds of miles in a blizzard?
They would have to freeze the whole of Westeros, and just keep
the Jamaican bobsled team again,
and just keep walking around. It would make more sense for me than to make it all the way to King's Landing, all the way down there, or at least close to it. And Harrenhal would be a perfect spot to hold up. When the first White Walkers came, they conquered just about everything in the north, no problem. You know what I mean? They whipped everyone, the kingdoms and hold fast. That's what it says. Old man says and it wasn't until they got word of how to beat them and from the children of the forest who created them that they were able to stop them. So
I agree with you, Tony. That I think the White Walkers need the others in the book need a big or will have a huge win at the end of Winds of Winter. I think wherever Winds of Winter ends on, my prediction is just going to be sad. It's going to be a Empire Strikes Back kind of ending where it ends where it looks like our good guys against the dead are at an all-time low point, and they lost some big battle, lost a couple of big people that point of view chapters, and it's going to take a bunch of characters off the board to open up spring to be more focused on a few characters.
It's the next book is called A Dream of Spring. So when you have that title, they're telling you that winter is still here, right? And you're dreaming of spring. That means spring has been, this is a dream. It's an afterthought, right?
Yeah.
So it still has to be winter when this book ends. If it's only way it's going to be winter is if the White Walkers are still alive and they're heading down south.
And they're kicking ass. They're winning.
And they're winning. And that's the only way it works. And I think
there
that
it is.
breaking the neck. Break the neck. Because when you break the neck, then it becomes the broken neck. And I think that has to happen. They break the neck.
And thank you to Fandom Descent, because I've been trying to think about this whole time. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. Yes, Brandon Stark, it's bobsled time.
And if you're saying who's going to break the neck, well, who's the people who broke the neck before? It was the greenseers. Who's the greenseer? It's Bran in Bran's body. He's the one who's going to do it. But they're going to give the credit to Bran like he did it, but it'll be that greenseer that'll do it. He's going to break the neck. And that's it. This to hold them back, to try to keep them there.
So we talked about the bait thing. We talked about all of that. I think the last thing. Okay, so I guess we'll yada around the whole Daenerys situation, because I think if the walkers are to be dealt with, and then Dany has a similar turn as in the show.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll do it.
I don't think, but I'm going to say I don't think Bran will have a lot to do with that in the books, and so leading to the end thing, how does Bran become king, or do you not think he becomes king in the book situation? Do they offer it to Jon and Jon refuses and then Bran's the next in line? Is it something like that? Do they actually does Tyrion give a speech that suggests Bran because he has all the knowledge of history? How do they get to Bran, or do they not get to Bran as king? Bridge.
I would like to see. I'm sorry. The show does bias my opinion. I think it's going to go down very similar to the show. If you were to ask me before the season started, I would have said that we were going to see Tone's favorite characters, Sir Jaime Lannister and Lady Brienne, be king and queen.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is
beautiful.
Yeah, everyone would love to see that bridge, right?
Aww.
The ugly duckling gets the beautiful man.
Most handsome man in all of Westeros.
To the point where she's a virgin, but she could turn him out somehow, and she turns him out better than Cersei. Now listen, Brienne ain't fucking like Cersei. Cersei's fucking.
Book Brienne is not.
That's why
Gwendolyn Christie.
Cersei is slinging that right there. You know what I mean? Brienne can't compete with that because she knows what she's doing.
Not Book Brienne. That's not Gwendolyn Christie. I mean, that's
true.
That's a very different human being in the book.
She just ain't throwing that back like Cersei. We see Cersei in the books. She's freaking everyone, women, men. She's about that life. You know what I mean? Brienne ain't through nobody. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way Brienne could throw that back like that.
Oh god.
I can't see it going down like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason I can't give you that one. You know what I mean? I can't see Jaime ain't staying with that. He may hit it once and then realize this chick don't even know how to move. She just laying here the whole time. Cersei's rolling those hips. She's doing a thing. So he's going back to Cersei.
Yeah. So to be serious though, I was actually really, really pissed because for years, not everyone even saw that Bran and Jaime had like a path to come together. People didn't see the love interest there. It's pretty obvious in the books, especially from Brienne's side. However, and Jaime became my favorite character. I know not everyone likes him, but he became my favorite character. So I was really vested in these two having a future together, not even as king and queen, but having a future. So I was pissed when Jaime left her in the show. But I now actually love the fact that he went down there for Cersei, because it's just very realistic. Like, this is his twin, let alone the fact that she was his lover for like his whole life. It was his twin. It's his sister. He's loved her his whole life. And even though he's moved on, a piece of him has moved on, a piece of him hasn't. I found it very realistic. So you're right. I don't think Jaime and Brienne actually are going to be king and queen. I think ultimately it's going to come down to Bran. I mean, I don't think that's a plot point that they would change. Like, George R. R. Martin probably told them that's what he's going to do. And that's probably what it is. But I think he's a very hands-off king. And it's symbolic in the fact that he's not a king, that they have a council now ruling the realm. And I think they'll actually speak to about moving the realm to either breaking it up into different pieces or moving to some sort of, I don't know, because I don't really know the technical side of things, but you kind of need more technology to have like a democracy. I don't think a realm like they have freaking ravens, and then they have to bring the mail around. Like, how are you going to collect the votes, right? So you kind of have to have feudalism at that day and age. But maybe break up the realm into the 7 kingdoms as opposed to having 7 kingdoms. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I gotta stand by it. It's gonna be the last greenseer in Bran's body that becomes king, and that brings it all the way back from the beginning of the stories with the children of the forest fighting the first men and fighting the Andals, getting slaughtered. They finally get their due, and they sit on the Iron Throne, and the children of the forest take their land back in that way.
Yeah.
I think that's how it ends when it's all said and done, and that's the ending of it.
Does Bran have Tyrion as his hand? Are all those things similar points?
No.
That's show created stuff. Another one show created thing I hope somehow makes it into books. I hope Bran bumps into Jaime again and like confronts him. I'm waiting for an old friend. I hope you get a moment like that where if Jaime Lannister goes on, and then I looked and saw his eyes on me as I entered Winterfell. It was Brandon Stark, the boy I pushed out a window. I want to read that from Jaime's perspective.
Yeah, Tone, you actually on the last stream when you mentioned the different the reunions with Arya being with Arya and Jon and Sansa and all them, the one that actually jumped out to me was it was actually Jaime. It was that moment he walked through. Granted, it's biased because it had the strength of being like literally a last clip of an episode and then like roll credits or whatever. So that makes it pretty impactful. But yeah, that was more impactful for me than Bran meeting Sansa or meeting Arya again.
I would love Robin Riddle. I would love Gendry to be king if it was Gendry. But it's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? So I would love for him to be king. I would not, but it has to be.
Is it a council that elects that a similar way that it happens in the show where it's a council of the great families left after all the wars that decide who's king?
Having a great council makes a lot of sense because we're going to see a couple. We'll probably see 2 of them in the House of the Dragons prequel. We may see 2 of them.
So yeah, maybe that could be something. I tend to think that it will be something like that. I think in the book I keep thinking that it's going to be Jon, and Jon is going to refuse and go north on Walkabout because he was dead and wants to just leave. And then Bran's the next person in line in his family. So they're like to the next family member in the line, even though it's the Targaryen stuff, because Jon doesn't have any Targaryen family left because Dany will be dead. And what's his name? Fagon will be fake or whatever. We'll get to that. But I think maybe then they'll look to Bran, but I do think it will be a council that will decide it.
Yeah,
Jon and Dany's. She was saying Jon and Dany's child. She has to get pregnant first,
and she's got to live
to say that. And we got to. She's got to give birth. If they had a child, then I would definitely say that. If Jon and Dany had a child, then yes, I would say that.
It would be the stallion that mounted
I would believe that would happen, but I don't know if that. I don't see that going down. We're going to talk about Jon and Dany and Fagon, all when we do that and everything else. We'll definitely do all that stuff. You know what I mean? We definitely rock about with all that stuff. But yeah, that's the way I see it with Bran. It's not Bran. It's the last greenseer. The children of the forest finally get their country back. I think it makes sense for it to happen that way, and that's all I can see. See it going when it's all said. I can't see it ending any other way. But from the beginning, I think Bran Stark had died pretty early.
In a weird way, Tony, it's the way that I think it makes most sense for Bran to end up king and make it the most interesting kind of half fucked up kind of ending George could do. And because I think in the show that it's played as very poetic that Bran the Broken, he's king, and everyone and he's happy, he doesn't want anything. But I think in the books it's going to seem a little bit more, whether it's full what you think or partial what in that direction. I think it's going to be a little bit more vague and be a little bit more it is Bloodraven in there, is Bloodraven driving the car, or is that Bran and Bran's just a passenger in there, similar to what I was saying with Jon and Ghost last week that in that tandem, Bloodraven's driving that car. If he's in there, he's controlling the direction. He's strong. He has a much stronger will than Bran. He's been doing it much longer.
Laura's saying she's late to the game. Sorry, I'm glad at least you're here in the game. How about being late to the game? At least you came. We appreciate you stopping by and rocking with us. As I said, if people don't know, this is every week. It's every Wednesday, 6:15 every week. The time doesn't change. We'll be here. And I said, if you want someone for us to discuss or a topic for us to discuss, all you have to do is put it in the comment section when this video is over. Say, and whoever gets the most votes or whatever, if you like somebody else, someone puts it in there and you like it, thumbs up it. And if someone has like there's a topic that has like 80 thumbs up on it and stuff, we'll do it next week. We give it a run till like Friday, and then I make the thumbnail, and then we gotta start looking at this stuff. And
OTDA, the Usual Suspects podcast will happen. We will talk about the movie. We'll get Bridge to watch. 3 of us will watch it. We'll do a review. That will happen.
We'll do a Usual Suspects, and we're gonna have a logo and intro and everything else. I'm taking care of all that. We're gonna have all that stuff. So it'll be just as good as the Lady and the Don one because I'm using the same person. So we'll have all that stuff and everything else. Have I heard from James and LaDonna? I have not heard from James and LaDonna at all, but I'm sure they're doing well, and I wish them nothing but the best. Hopefully, when House of the Dragon comes back on, we will hear from James and LaDonna again. Without a shadow of a doubt, you know what I mean. What up to my brother AU Pack Mules in the building, rocking with us right now. Right now we're gonna go through the Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, please put it in the chat right now. We'll do the Q&A, and then after the Q&A, we will be out and stuff.
So let's see if we get any questions in the live chat. Those weirwood trees will 100% come into place, says Sterling. And I was going to ask, are there a lot of weirwoods in the south? Like, does each major kingdom have at least one godswood somewhere at this point?
Say it again.
Does every one of the major kingdoms at this point right now still have a godswood somewhere?
Most like big houses have a weirwood tree, or a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. Like a lot of them have been cut down. I mean, like when Jamie has his infamous weirwood fever dreams. It's on like weirwood. It's on a weirwood stump, for example. Actually, there's that one really big one. Where is that at? I always get those two with the brackens and the blackwoods. There's one of those trees. It's like a monster, right? Is it a weirwood tree though?
I'm not sure if it's a weirwood tree, but that's a dead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's a big dead one. I think that's Bloodraven's mother, right? That her people that had it.
AK says there's none in the south, according to OSHA.
There are. I mean, not in the kingdoms, but you still have the Isle of Faces.
And then it's also like someone like Storm's End had one until and Dragonstone had them until Melisandre burnt them down. You know what I mean? They had them in their own godswood. But as far as like where we're just being out around in like the forest and stuff, I don't think so, because I think that was all part of the war. Is that the humans wanted to cut down as many of them as they could.
Well, they knew that they were being spied on. They couldn't prove it, but they knew that they were being spied on through these trees with the faces, so they cut them down not to get spied on. That's why they cut them down. And then the children are like, why are you cutting them down? They're sacred to us. Why are you looking at us? Why are we fucking? What do you want us to do? I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't get mad at people for cutting down a tree when you're using those trees to spy on people when you're at war. So that's like me saying, hey, you have a drone flying over me, but I'm going to leave it there because you think that drone is sacred, but you use it to look at me. Of course I'm going to shoot it down. Of course I'm going to take it down. I have no choice. This is what it is. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The children just don't make sense with that. With the philosophy is stupid. And this is the bottom line. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, we do have a bunch of questions. Here's a few. We'll go a little rapid fire here. White Sergeant says, "Are any Bran the Builder theories going to pay off, or is that just tinfoil fans miss out?" And
what is the theory for Bran?
I think is it the Bran the Builder stuff? Like Bran is the Bran throughout history. Is that the one that you're referring to?
Bran did everything. I don't believe Bran did everything.
Yeah, I don't believe Bran did everything.
No, it's not Bran doing everything. I think that there's a lot of stuff that you go back and Bloodraven, the last greenseer, did do to manipulate things in that thing, but I don't think it's Bran.
Right, just setting things in motion doesn't necessarily, just because Bloodraven had that connection. So some stuff was, anyways, Melinda says, does anyone ever talk about Old Nan saying, in that darkness, the others came that first time, meaning that they have come more than once before. So meaning that Old Nan, when she's telling the story, says the others came for the first time. So is that implied that other than the first long night, to have the others come back any other time? Or is that just the way Old Nan's talking?
I personally, my difference with Old Nan, I have a difference with Old Nan from like everyone else out there. I love her just like everyone does. But if you look at everything she says, I think almost everything she says is wrong. Everything.
There's like a kernel of truth in there, but the rest of it is
no. I just think she's not lying on purpose, but she's been fed misinformation, and a lot of her stuff is like because she's like. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but I personally think that you can look at almost everything she says and she's mistaken about it. She's such a hateful person in terms of the free folk. She hates them, and for good reason. I think some of them came over the wall and killed some of her sons, for example. But because of that, she's prejudiced against free folk, and I just don't dig that. I'm the house free folk.
What was the exact question?
Oh,
sorry, I got a little crazy there.
No, you answered it perfect. We can always move on. But does anyone ever talk about Old Nan saying, "In that darkness, the others came the first time"?
That first time thing is very interesting. Saying first time that and that would make you think that they came before. But from the story that we know, they only came the one time. Yeah. During the long night. Well, no. They are there multiple times. So she's right. All right. So she's correct. She's not lying. They did come multiple times. So you have the first time is the long night when they came, and then the second time is the Night Queen when they came, right? The Night Queen and the Night King. So the others did come twice. That the first time is the long night. The second time would be the Night King when he found the Night Queen. So that's the two times I do believe she's talking about.
But we don't, like I said in the last stream, the short version is that I think that was just a Stark civil war. I don't think they were White Walkers. I think they repainted them as like evil White Walkers. That they were just human.
We don't know. All we know from the story is that she was as cold as ice, and when he gave her a seed, he gave her a soul. That's what we're told.
If we look at Danny the Flint's sigil, though, the Flints do have like their blue eyes on their sigil.
All right, we'll talk about Danny Flynn, and we'll have a whole thing of stream about Danny.
A couple more comments and questions. Jason says, sorry.
Oh, real quick though, I do think that there was a war a long time ago. I do think the White Walkers existed. I think because AK actually started talking about like she thinks the war might come down to Old Town. She wants to see Old Town burn like the city of Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria. But if I go back, if you look at the I think it's in the World of Ice and Fire. Okay, so there's an island near Old Town called Battle Isle, and it even says in the text, it's like why is it called Battle Isle? What battle was fought there? When you think about islands, you're potentially talking about White Walkers or hiding from White Walkers. I also think that this will be real quick, but I think that the first original White Walker war came all the way down to Starfall. I think it actually was a Stark was the first White Walker, and it was actually Starkfall. It's where the Starkfall died. I think that the sword Dawn is made out of the first Night King's body.
You think Dawn is made out of the Night King's
body?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it was instead of Starfall, it was Starkfall. That's like because the place is like the Danes. It's like the dawn of a new day. That's where the war ended, right there at that parallel. Oh, and then it also ties together. If you talk about the wars over in because they talked about the freezing of the Selhor down, the freezing of the whatever river that is, the freezing of the River Royne all the way down to the Selhorro. That's at the same latitude as Starkfall or Starfall. So I think that sort of it came down and that it affected the weather even over in Essos. I don't know. It's really tinfoil. There's not much to base it off of, but that's what I guess.
No, I think that there's some credence to it. I could see it going down somewhat, and I would have to research it more.
Yeah, it's just
to see if that was a guy. I do believe that Dawn is definitely light
important.
It's
like
light. Yeah, I do believe that's the case with it. But I would definitely have to research that more. You have a video on that?
Yeah, it's not worth watching. It's so tin. I basically just told you guys what it was. It's tinfoil.
It's not.
Watch it.
But let me decide for myself, Bridge. Jesus.
Yeah, pub that shit. I'll pub it. Watch Bridges' video on the subject. Let's see. A couple people just commenting that it's going to be bittersweet. Bran being possessed is a little too dark, possibly. But with more questions, Robin, will House Martell survive in the book? I think in some form.
Let me explain. Someone said that Bran being possessed is too dark for this book.
They said the question. Let me see what it was. It was. Let me read it. Robin says George said the ending will be bittersweet. Possessed King Bran seems too dark of an ending.
All right, let's take a look at the things that have happened in this story. Just look at the dark. We have women that have been licked by dogs. And right. So I think when you're willing to go there, I don't think that it could be that's too dark. We've had Bran possessing other people the whole time. We've had them do it to Hodor. We've had direwolves taken over. We've seen this is not a new thing. It's not like we would be introducing something that hasn't been done. It's just going to be done to him what he's been doing to others.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Good answer to. I'm getting distracted by a couple of like interesting, crazy questions in the live chat. So I'm gonna skip around. So we're gonna start to wrap things up here. But Liam said, "Do you guys think that Mel glamored Jon to look like Tormund and Tormund to look like Jon? So it's really Tormund who died? No, I don't think.
No, no, I'm sorry.
That's fun. That's fun, but I don't think that.
It's fun.
Very fun.
No.
I haven't heard that one before in a fandom of like theories that I've heard every single theory in the world. I've never heard that one before. So
that's a new one. But you would have to have a tool. When they glamour somebody, it's always a piece of equipment that they have to hold the glamour to. So what is the piece of equipment that Tormund has, that Jon has, that's on them that they're holding? There's no necklace, there's no pearl, it has to be no bracelet, there has to be something there in order to hold the glamour. Without that, it doesn't work. So I don't see anything that's on them. So I just can't go. Someone says, great question, Jake Cruz. What's that question?
Let's find Jake Cruz's question. Jake says, sorry, I'm like scrolling through. Jake Cruz, David. Where's Jake Cruz's question?
His underarm bands, his armbands. I've never seen it be like a piece of cloth. It has to be something like, usually when they see the glamour, it's on like an object, like a stone or something made of like a metal type story. I've never seen it on cloth. I mean, it was the bone. Well, man's with the bones, and the bones help, but it's really that bracelet he has on that keeps him going.
Jake, could you paste your question again? I cannot find it. Do you guys think that we'll still have Bran POV chapters after he becomes the three-eyed crow? George doesn't seem to like narrators who know too much. Will we get more Bran chapters?
It's some place I've either heard, read, or seen George R. R. Martin say that he does not plan on having Bran having any more POV chapters. I don't know if that's true though.
Yeah, but
it's just because Bran has too much. He's going to have too much information.
It doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be named Bran. It could be.
Oh, I got his question.
Like they did it. They did it with Theon, right? They didn't name the chapter Theon. Okay. They named it different, so it could be named the Greenseer. It could be named, you know what I mean, and be his character. So maybe that's what he's talking about, because it's not really
his reason.
Bran is dead.
I found Jake Cruz's question too.
But George R. R. Martin said, but the reason was like he wasn't trying to like pull a fast one, like there's no Bran chapters, we're gonna name it something different. It was more of just like Bran being a greenseer, he just knows too much. Like it wouldn't be fun for the reader, you know what I mean? I agree. I forget where I read it, but I remember at the time it being something like I think I actually saw George R. R. Martin say it in an interview or something concrete, but whether he holds to that, who knows? I don't know.
Now, Jake's question, I did find it who did Bloodraven take over to become the last greenseer? Human?
He didn't. Bloodraven never took anyone over. He got taken over. So I think that's what you got to understand. Bloodraven got led there, and he got taken over by the last greenseer. It's the last greenseer. There's only one last greenseer. When you hear the word last, that's it. That means last. There's nothing after that. The last greenseer was there before Bloodraven. He took over Bloodraven's body. So, and now he needed a new body because Bloodraven's body's about to go away. So that's why he lured Bran up to him. So and that's it. And they said, that was the whole thing. Well, when you see Vlad Sixskins, like he didn't want to take over the girl because he didn't want to lose his powers because she didn't have that power, and that was his big thing of why he had to force himself to go and do it. And she fought him off and stuff, but he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to lose his powers. He would have lost all the skin changing ability if he would have took her over because she didn't have that ability. And then what happens with her when you look at her? When you look at her and he tries to take her over, she bites her tongue out, and then she has a weirwood mouth. She has a bloody mouth, which is representation of the weirwood, showing you that this is what they do in the weirwood. This is what they do with the children of the forest, and that's how it goes down. So Bloodraven was taken over by the last greenseer, and Bran has been taken over by the last greenseer.
Now we'll take like one or two more questions. AK asked this one.
We got a super chat by my man Fernandez.
Oh, Fernandez, thank you so much.
It says, cheers, host, cheer. Thank you, Fernandez. Appreciate that, brother.
AK asks, do you think the tunnels under Westeros will come into play, and who do you think could use them? Do either of you guys think the tunnels...
I missed the question. Who said it? Sorry.
AK asks, do you think the tunnels under Westeros will come into play, and who do you think could use them? Could use them?
Oh, so I think... Is AK referring to like weirwood, all the weirwoods being one weirwood net, and there being tunnels that connect everybody?
It's saying actual, either that or actual tunnels.
Follow up in the live chat, AK. We'll follow up to that question, and let me try to.
So Phil, I know there's speculation. So people, you know how like the weirwoods are like a hive mind or whatever.
Yes.
So there's speculation that all the roots of the weirwoods all connect to each other, and thus, because of like Bloodraven being in a cave with like roots, caves sort of like they drip. There's like spaces get created. I think that's what AK is referring to. I vaguely recall there being speculation as to being like a tunnel system under all of Westeros. I never personally bought into that tunnel system. Then again, it also plays into the whole like Gendel and Gorn tunnels underneath the wall, blah, blah, blah. Personally, not saying it's wrong. I've just never thought too much into the tunnels. And I guess one of the reasons why is I never necessarily believed that the roots of the weirwoods had to connect for the weirwoods to interact with each other, because Bloodraven or the Thread Crow, however you want to interpret it, they say to Bran in his I guess it's Dance with Dragons, Bran 2 or 3, they're like, weirwoods are just sort of like the stepping stone as to learning how to do green sight. Eventually, it's like you can see through like an oak tree, you can see through like a bird, you can see like you don't need weirwoods. Yeah. That's just sort of the easiest way to learn about the skill of green sight. So I don't think weirwoods are necessarily all connected. I think that the hive mind just exists in this beautiful thing we call nature.
That was beautiful. AK said she's actually talking. That was beautiful. I didn't want to stop.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No. That was amazing. I'm glad I did. She says the actual tunnels under the wall are in the children's tunnels. And the tunnels under the crypts of Winterfell.
Yeah, I think I said it earlier. I believe that's how they're going to.
That was a great answer.
It said they're going to escape Winterfell through those tunnels from the White Walkers. That's how they get out, and that they're going to be protected by the Wolf Pack. They won't be sacrificed and killed, but that's how they'll escape Winterfell. Everyone, when Winterfell does fall to the White Walkers, they'll go through the tunnels. I think that's how they'll get away.
Do you think that because there's going to be a huge portion of like the North all coming together probably at Winterfell, right? Like a lot of people. So like, do you think not many, because Winterfell's inland, they're so far from like the sea or whatever, like even if they go down like White Harbor and then take some ships away, do you think like most of the North is going to die in this? Because like Stannis is having trouble right now, like going like 300 yards because it's such a blizzard, right?
Yeah, most of it's got to fall. Listen, you'd rather stay up in the Dreadforts better protected than Winterfell.
Yeah,
the Dreadforts, you would think that you go to the Dreadfort and get in there. That's a much better protected castle than Winterfell. Winterfell's got to fall. It's got to fall.
And I guess one of the last questions I saw, and if people want to throw in one last one, where as we're finishing up here. John says, will the long night occur in both Westeros and Essos in the book? If so, could this be the reason why Dany decided to travel to Westeros, because Essos would be possibly be invaded and destroyed? Will we see any part of the others in Essos in the book?
It's a great question. I'd say no, it's not going to happen. But no, that's all. That'd be cool. But no.
I mean, winter
agree with
may
your
affect them over there, and it may, but we'll never see it. Like even if it's going on over there, it may get cold over there, and lands may freeze up over there, and everything else. They'll never show us that in the book. We won't see any of that. So there'll be no someone escapes and says it's frozen over here too. It's not going to be that. We're never going to see it if it does affect it over there.
Okay,
we're only going to see the Westeros perspective of it.
I guess
they have the because I'm sure what they're wondering is like, because there's the 5 forts of ET, or like this basalts, like whatever. It's like made of black stone, these huge forts or whatever. Like that'd be badass to see them fight like White Walkers trying to infiltrate there. But yeah, I doubt we'll see anything like that.
No.
And thank you. Great question, John. We're glad to answer it. Yas asks, do you think that Mira will ever abandon Bran because of his loss of identity? Meaning that she'll similar to what we got in the show where she's like, thank you, that's all you give me? That's all. Will we have a Mira leaving him breaky uppy kind of moment scene in the books?
I'm gonna think that from what I know about Mira, that she's gonna stay and fight in the White Walker battle. I think that all the major characters will be there. Howland Reed will be there. They'll all be there to fight the White Walkers when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I hope so. I agree with you there as well. I don't think they're going to make it into a dramatic moment. I think that's again a television thing where television writers are looking to make any moment of some drama situation. I think they're going to be wrapped up in the moment of lucky that they if she even survives getting Bran back, like all jokes of the bobsled team aside, getting Bran back from the cave to Winterfell.
Fernandez T, he's not deleting these streams. These are going up every Wednesday, 6:15.
Yeah, they don't delete. These streams stay up. They'll be there. It's in the playlist. It's there. You'll be able.
Yeah, we may eventually have these available in audio podcast form. I'll talk to Tony after that. We'll figure out maybe a way to get that available if you want to listen to them that way. But they'll always be available on Teflon TV to listen to and watch afterwards.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Again, listen, we'll be here again next week. You know what I mean? 6:15. If y'all want to have influence on what we talk about, all you got to do is when this video is over, go in the comment section and write down exactly who you want us to talk about or a theory you want us to talk about. If not a person, we'll talk about whatever. It's all good with us.
TV, book, old book subject, new book subject, whatever you want to hear us talk about, Game of Thrones related, or keep suggesting the Usual Suspects movie. That's also what. But whatever you want us to talk about, just give the suggestion and we'll put it in the hat.
Yeah, and make sure that you subscribe to Teflon TV. Hit that notifications button so that you can be notified when these videos come up and you know exactly when they're going to drop. Obviously, subscribe to Fill the Issues Guys channel. Link has been in the description, has been in there. Subscribe to Bridge 4 channel. Subscribe to all of our channels. But if you want the know when we're going to go up, you have to be subscribed here and hit the notification so you know exactly. Usually Friday is when I'll post the thumbnail and the topic, and you'll see the topic of the video and stuff like that.
It's awesome that Tony does that. He posts a couple days early so you guys can set reminders and stuff, and make sure YouTube could be finicky. So if you like what we're doing, we see we got, is it Melissa that said in the live chat? This is Melinda's first time here checking out a live stream. So if you want to make sure that you get reminded and get a little update by YouTube, obviously hit the reminder button when you check out the video when Tony posts it, because then they'll absolutely send you a notification that we go live.
And it's only good as long as we're here. Listen, we had a bunch of people here. I think we may have maxed topped up more than we did last week, and we just keep coming out and we're just trying to grow, and that's all we're trying to do is just keep growing. And hopefully one time we'll hit 200, and then maybe we can go over 200, and then who knows how big we can. Maybe we can hit 500 one day. That'd be great. We have 500. We do 500. I would give away something special if we ever had 500 watches, what could I give away? An Oculus Quest, maybe a VR system, something like that.
Can you give it to Bridge and I? Can you give us one of those? Can I be a listener? Can I be one of the 500?
Maybe we'll do something like that. We'll give it. I love my Oculus Quest so much that I just want to give them to people so that they can experience it because it's such a great thing. It's so good. I sent one
That's
of my
the VR thing.
Yeah, I sent one to my daughter. She doesn't know, and everything else. I just sent one to her, so I can't wait for her to get it and everything because she loves video games like me. So that's just what it is and stuff. You know, Carol Funk has a channel. Subscribe to Carol Funk's channel.
Yeah, no, definitely do. Pop the link in the live chat, AK, if you can.
Yeah.
Thank you, Liam. Hopefully, we'll see you back here, and everyone.
Warrior right there.
Melinda.
Yeah, hopefully we see all you people back here, you know what I mean, and all that. You know, again, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification so you know next time we're going to go live and all that good stuff and everything else like that. We'll be back next week. Again, hopefully you'll let us know what topic you want us to rock, and make sure that you share. The more thumbs up and you share the videos and stuff, we get more people in there. The more people in there, the more fun it is. And as I said, we'll be doing something with Gray Area and the Direwolf City podcast within the coming couple of weeks and all that good stuff. So let us know what it is. Bridge 4. Let the people, thank you again for rocking with us as always. Let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me at Bridge 4.
You got an Instagram page too, right?
Go down to the beach, look for a bridge.
Really just YouTube. I don't really go on anything else. It's just YouTube.
All right. Thank you for rocking with us as always, Bridge. We appreciate it.
I am on Instagram. It's Bridge4 official. It's so annoying though. I put official. I've got like 100 friends on there.
I ain't got nothing on my. I don't even use my.
I'm one of them.
I don't even use my Instagram page. I never even use it.
But it is official.
You can watch it. Phyllis, thank you, my brother, again for always rocking with us.
Thank you. Great time.
Let people know what's coming up on your channel and where they can find you.
This Sunday, I'll be doing a live stream with Joe Dirtylocks. I'm not sure what our topic's going to be yet. It's maybe talking a little bit about the new Amazon cartoon superhero series. I think it's called Invincible or something like that. It's a little bit like The Boys. I also recently put out a 3-minute video about the Mighty Ducks series that I'm it's horrible, but I love it. And I always like the Mighty Ducks movies, and the new series has the same feel of the movie. So if you like the movie, you get more Mighty Duck shit. It's not great, but the Mighty Duck movies work great. But if people want to see more of my silliness, you can do that at Phil the Issues Guy here on YouTube, or find me on Twitter, I Got Issues Man, or find me on Bridges' friend list on Instagram, looking at his with a picture of my dog or something. It's I Got Issues Man as well, pretty much everywhere. Thank you for having me, Tony and Bridge. It's always good to talk to you.
Our thing, so I have to have you.
I know you have to. You're like, fuck. Damn, I have to have him now. Damn.
Bridge, what's coming up on your channel? What videos you got lined up?
You know what? So tomorrow I'm going to be dropping. It's just a recap. It's a third recap I have for the Wheel of Time book 1, but I've been working on a lot of videos last week, and I keep just working halfway through them and stopping them because, I'm sick of dropping, spending so much time in all these, smaller, intricate topics that I'm just a big fan of. So what I'm going to do, the next video you're going to see on my channel is going to be a video I've been holding off for a couple of years. It's my own personal favorite theory that I've come up with. So that's what you'll see on my channel next. But I'm not going to say what it is. But yeah, all right. So it's going to take me 2 or 3 days. Favorite theory coming up. Literally, yeah. Please subscribe to get that. My next video is going to drop. I think it's going to be. It's a Serial Pharrell Jack and Rhaegar theory. I got to deal with this once and for all. So I think that's the next one that drops and stuff will be that one. So we'll deal with the Serial Pharrell Jack and Rhaegar thing once and for all, and we'll be done with that after we get done with this video. All right. Thank you again. If you like the way we do this, please thumbs up this, please spread this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy. And now I'm going to